glow slicker, neon bright. Old freaky gamer plays all night. Joystick in one hand, fries in the other. He's the king of one more level, brother. Press start, he's in the zone. His throne's a squeaky chair alone. Old freaky gamer, he's got the knack. Blasted through the GamezAttack. Leveled up and don't look back. Old freaky gamer on the track.
Hello everybody. Welcome to the GamezAttack podcast, episode 72. You like games? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Whoa, and that rewound itself right there. Welcome everybody. We are back. I am recording this podcast on Monday. What is today? September the 6th? Let me check my phone. September the 8th. Monday the 8th. Wow. We're already September 8th here, folks. Holy cow. I did not think that already is the 8th. That means, if by all calculations of what everybody was talking about, that means the rest of this week, so we're still in the beginning of the week, so I'll count it. So this week, next week, and then the following week, the 25th, we should be getting that, being able to pre-order those Xbox ROG Allies, right? Haven't heard a peep out of Microsoft or Asus yet on any of that stuff. Even though they say it's coming out October, the 16th, I think they were saying. October 16th. I think that was the case. Yes, that would be the case, October 16th, because I'm looking it up on my little calendar here on Windows here. But yet we haven't heard anything yet about the any of that stuff. So it's still wait and see, wait and hear, whatever. I've been, not really just Google searching, but I've been Google searching. I've been tracking. I've been waiting for any and all information on the upcoming Xbox ROG Ally handhelds that are supposedly gonna be, being able to be purchased by yours truly, and when they become available, when the pre-orders become available, I will definitely pre-order mine and get my hands on it day one, hopefully, and bring it home, set it up, pop in the new 4 terabyte hard drive into that sucker, upload my games, play games, test it out, and hopefully have some great fun with that thing. And show it off, of course, in videos and all sorts of great stuff for you guys. And comparing it from my original one to this one, the new one, and seeing what the difference is, what's better about it, what could be improved, stuff like that. So let's begin the podcast, which we already have. So much to probably think about talking about. Well, today we're talking about something different. Usually I'm just talking about all sorts of stuff, and I wanted to focus on something that most people, especially in the industry and people that are, games so-called journalists out there, and people that think they're in the know-how and all that, and, just your average Joe like myself, YouTuber, influencer, whatever you want to consider those other people in the gaming verse. The fact of the matter is, if you're a person that likes to play video games and you like to buy sometimes new video games, you already know that the gaming landscape has changed dramatically. You know that we went from basic NES style games, little 8-bit, 16, 32-bit games, to full 3D looking like they're realistic. You got the women that look so realistic, and they got the boobies, and you got full videos that look like you're watching a movie in a cinema or something. You're playing the game, and it looks so realistic, almost photorealistic in a way. And some games they can push that to like almost photorealistic. And I'm sure, depending how the future goes, we could get to that. But games have not looked or played better ever since the early days of gaming. It's just from little pixels on a screen to now full blown. I could be in a game right now, and you could be playing like anything. It's just so mind blowing on how far we came. I'm 39 now. Gaming started even before me. You know, the NES. The Nintendo NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, the original, was before me. It came out before I was even born. And you got the Atari that was out before I was born as well, way before I was born. That's when gaming started. It started with like the Odyssey back when, what's his name? His name is... what was it? It's not Brian Bear. His name is Bear something. Shit. It's been a long time since I talked about him. But his last name was Bear. I know that for a fact because it reminds me of my last name a bit. And he invented video games basically back in the day. And there were little pixels on a screen where you put up a sheet of like green, blue, whatever colorful, like saran wrap kind of a covering over it. And you'd play things like tennis, pongs, hockey, stuff like that. And it was very rudimentary and very stupid at the time if you would look at it now. And that was something that people were blown away by back in the day. It was simpler times, and we demanded simpler things back in the day. TV was something that was a mind-blowing thing compared to just radio and stuff. Getting a picture on a screen on top of just listening? Holy shit, even if it's black and white? And then eventually colored TVs became a thing, and it's like... But, yeah, but back in those days, gaming was simplistic, and then you got little bit better pixel-like things that looked like spaceships or pixelated people. You had a pixelated Pocahontas getting fucked by the turncoat or whatever, and that whatever that game was, Custard's Revenge. Yeah, that's what it was called, Custard's Revenge. Very pornographic horde type of game back in the day, but there was no regulations because games were a minor thing. And then you had your bigger games. You had your E.T., which was the fallout of Atari, basically, or during the fallout of Atari. I don't think E.T. was the fallout of Atari, but that was the staple point that everybody remembers. Oh, after E.T., then everything fell apart. Then stuff like Atari and stuff like that just couldn't sell any more games and stuff. It was just because back in that time, the games industry was flooded with a bunch of junk from all sorts of places, which you could maybe sometimes think about nowadays, but it's a lot more easy to regulate through all that junk sometimes because there's a lot of people that are into it, and then you got the internet and reviews and people talking about the games or showing the games like I do on YouTube and stuff. And my website, OldFreakyGamer.com. And it's a lot easier than it was. You can look up a game by just Google searching a game, seeing if it's good or bad, if it's something that you would be interested in playing, or if it's a piece of trash that just got made and thrown out there for somebody to try to buy, and then nobody buys it because everybody knows it's a piece of trash because somebody looked at it, reviewed it, showed it off or something, and everybody judged upon it. That's the kind of industry we're in today. And like I said, from pixels to better graphics through the NES era when the NES came out, and then you've seen like little cartoonish like graphics, and then the 16-bit era when you had your Super Mario Brothers and stuff from the Super Nintendo, and then the Sega games. Then you got Sega Saturn, and then PlayStation. I said Sega Saturn very quickly on that because it was still rudimentary, like 3D. It looked pretty cool to me, but other people liked the Dreamcast, other people liked other things. And then, like I said, then came along the PlayStation, which changed games forever, on how the graphics looked and how games were more polygonal and 3D and sound and all that compared to what the Sega Saturn tried to do with their disc-based games and stuff. And then you went from cartridges to discs. And then beyond that, then the PS2, the graphics looked even more 3D. They looked even better than that. You got stuff like Grand Theft Auto and San Andreas and all that coming out, and all these war games and stuff, and you're looking at them and you're looking at the graphics like, oh, he's getting better. It's looking better. It's still a little polygonal and stuff, but it's getting better. And then you go on to like the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and stuff and all that, and the graphics are looking like really good. And you got stuff like Fight Night and all that where they're trying to push the graphics to the limits, or beyond the limits, I should say. And then you got Unreal Engine and stuff, talking about the Unreal technology, and you got realistic sweat and shooting and stuff. You're playing war games, and you're looking, and you're like, holy shit, this is like you're in a real war. And then you come to now in the future, and still they were trying to push a lot of these graphics. And you're looking at these games, and everything's so smooth and lit really well. The water looks like water. It's all shimmery and shiny. You go in it, it moves perfectly, and it's just realistic. And the ray tracing that we got now in these games, at least a lot of these games, or the fake ray tracing in some of these games, just looks so good. There's a lot of stuff, even Minecraft now, from what it used to be to now, where they got their fake ray tracing elements going on in Minecraft now. It just, from night and day from everything. And it's just like, wow, from where we were in gaming when I was just born, before I was born, to when I was born, to now. It makes me think about what we could be seeing in the future. Now, I can see a great slowdown in the future. A lot of people think, no, we're going to push ahead. We're going to get faster graphics cards, more powerful graphics cards, better game engines, all that stuff. And they talk about hardware and processing power and all this stuff. And I think about it, I'm like, yes, you could technically, feasibly, eventually go push that stuff to, like I said, photorealistic graphics, beyond photorealistic graphics. You can make it look like a game like me, and you can control me in this world, and I can see that happening. I can see like actuality effects or actual effects. I don't know what they would call it. I would call it actual effects or actuality effects, graphics effects or graphics or something like that. Actuality graphics, or so I'm trying to come up with the term that we would call it. And you can't just call it, oh, this is just 4K HD and that blah, 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 But actuality, I think actuality effects would be a good like term for something like reality, realistic effects. Like I'm looking at something real. Like if you're looking at me right now on this video, imagine if this is like a game and you're moving me and I can hit this stuff and you're just moving me with a controller and stuff. That would be actuality, realistic effects. That ain't like full motion video that like FMVs are, but you're actually controlling people that look like actual people. Not that we're not super close to being there. It's just uncanny valley with photorealistic effects in games and stuff was just, it's coming. Will we get to it perfectly? Maybe. I don't know. We can do it in movies and CG and stuff, but should we? Should we get there? Should we push beyond the limits? Should we keep pushing the hardware and the graphics and everything else? Or should we take a step back and think for a second, is it better to just keep pushing technology forward and forward and forward? Or is it better to let technology simmer a bit enjoy what we got and create great stories and great games to go along with those stories so people can get immersed in the worlds that we're at and just try to work with what we got. And it seems like the industry moving forward all the time, with most of the industry, not everybody, but with most of the big names in the industry, they always are like, we got to just keep pushing forward. People demand, and there are people out there that demand, oh, I want it to look even better. I want it to be bigger and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're spoiled in their heads and they're spoiled in what they got now, and they just don't appreciate of what comes out and what it is. I appreciate what comes out. A lot of the times, I appreciate a lot of the stuff that it's like indie developed, from indie developers, from people like you and me that are hobbyists or they want to start their own little game companies and they got a bunch of people that they're working with and they make great games at cheap budgets and they do very well, and sometimes they're big smashing hits like, I don't know, we'll just say Hollow Knight, the Hollow Knight games. Hollow Knight Silksong, stuff like that. We can name those kind of games. We can name stuff like, what was that game called? Cuphead. Cuphead, made by an individual team, individual little company that's, I think, was it family and friends created, I think, give or take. I think it was mostly family. And it was a big blockbuster, and it was one of those unique games made by indie creators that sometimes go beyond what a AAA developer does. Now, note, the graphics and everything else isn't AAA and top-notch and stuff, but a lot of the times, most of the time, those niche games, those indie games, are better to be played, and they're more fun a lot of the times to be played because the developers of these games weren't worried about graphics and sounds and what they can push and the technology and stuff. No, they made a game that they wanted to make and that they felt people would be interested in playing. And they decided, hey, we're going to make this game. We're going to have fun making these games. And, we're going to put it out there, and if it sells, it sells, and then we're happy. If it doesn't, then we know people didn't like it, and it's simple as that, and it's not costing us millions of dollars. We're not making these gigantic film-like budgets out there to make these games. We're making games that we feel like, hey, maybe I would like to play this game sometime. Maybe somebody else would like to play this game sometime. And they do very well. And they're flooded in things like Steam and other things. Even Microsoft's Xbox, the Xbox software is getting a lot of these indie games and stuff like that. A lot of them are phone games, yes, unfortunately. But they do play, a lot of them do play well. Like I got a few of those indie phone games that I used to like to play, and I play them on my Xbox or on my Raw Gallery or something because I bought them through Xbox. I could get achievements with them, and they're fun games. Like Indie Dev Story. I like to play that little stupid Indie Dev Story. It came out on the phone first, but now it's on PC and stuff, and I can play it on my Raw Gallery or whatever on my PC. I showed it off, and it's a fun little game that somebody created, and I have fun playing it. But what I'm thinking going forward, I'm thinking the industry is going to hurt itself more than it's going to help itself. Especially, you're going to see a lot of even these big players go down and go down very hard if they don't take a reality check in the future and start reining things back a little bit. Especially, and we're not going to be talking about Trump or tariffs or wars or whatever. We're going to talk about what would, even beyond tariffs and stuff, what I'm trying to say this correctly, what would have still happened, what is happening, and what will or could happen in the future with technology when you got stuff like companies charging more for all their goods and services. And this is even beyond stuff like, oh, we're just charging more because of this and that and all that stuff. No, we're talking about stuff where companies are not seeing the bigger picture, where they're seeing their hardware sales slump, but yet they're still raising prices. And then they say, oh, they blame the tariffs and stuff. Well, if we never had these tariffs, or these so-called tariffs go away, if, Congress or whoever has their way, even if they, don't go away or do go away, why is that going to always have to affect everything that we get? What that would have still happened. The pricing right after COVID. This all happened after COVID. Things, let's just say the whole industry or industries, I should say, anything global, in production and industry and trade and stuff, all got fucked up. It all got screwed up, and it never recovered. People say it recovered. It never recovered. Things got more expensive during and after COVID. Pricing never decreased and stuff like that. And after, our president took office and stuff, things were still creeping up in price. Things were very high in price, uncertainty and all this stuff. It just took, sure, some tariffs and some other stuff to get companies to go, oh, well, we might as well charge even more now because, we got another excuse to charge more and not try to alleviate anything. So we're going to just, charge the people. They'll take the cost. They'll do this and that. And it's like, are you really thinking that? Or are you guys just coming up with more ways to try to make that extra couple bucks? A few extra dollars and stuff. And I'm not saying, hey, everybody, bring all your manufacturing to the United States, blah, 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 blah. Even though a lot of people should and probably could bring their stuff to the United States to be made. And let's not get into the whole geopolitical thing or the whole thing of, oh, everything's going to cost a lot more if it's made in America. And it's like, well, here's the thing. A lot of other countries require things made in their countries if you want to sell products and goods and services in their countries. How come we can't have that? And the fact that, yes, we've been a big bloated society recently here in America, where a lot of people just been spending willy-nilly, and everything from our pay, salaries have gone up to remarkably outrageous things like the whole minimum wage thing and beyond, and what everybody expects to pay us as workers has gone up way beyond what it should have. Unfortunately, it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's a bad thing because if everything goes up, including minimum wage, that means prices on all goods and services go up to counteract that effect. And the whole fact that is, oh, sure, I'm making a lot more money, but here's the thing. If I need to buy this and that stuff is going to go up as well. And it's a whole chain reaction. And we're the blame. All of us not just this country, but the world is to blame. All us consumers and people, and needy this, needy that, and waste that. And then you get all the company people that are making tons of money off of everybody because nobody has self-control out there. That's when everything goes to kaputs, and that's why we're paying outrageous prices on everything. So you can say it's all about tariffs. It's because we're too damn lazy and cheap, and that things would cost a lot more to be made here in America, and these companies know it, and they know because companies have people that test this stuff. They know that, hey, if we're going to have products like Xboxes and PlayStations made here in the United States, we still got to get stuff shipped here and stuff, even though we could open up like mines to all these minerals and elements and stuff, but lots of regulations. We're not like China, where China just let their whole country, a whole big part of their country go to shit, where they did overnight, where they got, if you watch any of those documentaries and stuff on how the mines over all those mineral mines and stuff in China has just screwed up the whole ecosystem of China. It's screwing up the the whole continent of China. They don't want to tell you that. They're never going to tell anybody that. But beyond like smog and all that other pollution stuff, they're really fucking up their way of life over there. Pollution for farming and stuff like that. Toxic stuff coming out of the ground when they're digging up all these rare earth minerals and stuff. And they're paying a high price, and we were paying them barely anything for a very long time just so we could get our little cell phones and computers and video games and this and that and our basics everyday stuff that we didn't care about that we're paying pennies on a dollar for here. And we've had it so good for so long, just like the rest of the world. And now when all this shit hit the fan and, you know, like I said, you got all this stuff going on around the world, even China's like, well, you know what? We'll just charge more for this. Well, everything will go up. And, you know, all these companies are like, well, it's going to cost us more because China doesn't want to, you know, give up as much of the rare earth minerals. And everybody's got their own agendas more so now than ever. It's going to be harder to get a lot of that stuff. And does that mean we should open up more of the planet to make this stuff? And I know I'm going, it sounds like I'm going off a big tangent here and I'm not talking about video games, but it all comes around back to video games. So let's just leave it at this. And I don't have to keep ranting and talking about the whole how everything's made. But if you are expecting a console nowadays, or this handheld, which people don't know what the price is, we're thinking it's going to be like, what, $500 to like $800 for the more premium one, or $900 or $600. Nobody knows yet. We don't know exactly what the pricing is going to be for these Xbox ROG Allies, the regular one or the ROG Ally X version of it. And people are like, well, if it's more than $500, $500, it's going to be a big failure because it's going to be too expensive for people to buy and play and use when you could get something like the Steam Deck for $300. But also, people got to understand the Steam Deck doesn't play everything. It has a lot of restrictions to it, especially for power. And I don't mean power in like power. I'm talking about power on playing games. So the Steam Deck right now is very limited, and eventually Valve is gonna have to try to, you know, get a bigger, better Steam Deck down the road. You know, that's gonna be eventually coming down the road, but still, it's gonna be expensive for that, and the Steam Deck will be higher in costs going forward. So you can't just say, oh, this Xbox ROG Ally is going to be probably too expensive. And then you got the Lenovo Legion Go's and all this other stuff. And we'll talk about that stuff. But we got to face reality, folks. It doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter what's happening out there. As a gamer, or if you want to be a gamer, or if you want to play games, or your kids want to play games, you're just going to have to accept that gaming isn't like it used to be. Gaming is going to be a premium entertainment. Just like if you go to the movies now, it costs you what? $20 almost for a ticket if you don't go on like the Tuesday cheapo days, like at the Regal when they have their half price Tuesdays and stuff like that. And you're going to spend like $20+ on a popcorn and a soda, which you gotta definitely get. And that's if you don't get any other snacks that cost way more. And like you'll be ending up spending $40 per person almost to go to the theater to watch a movie with you, your kids, your wife, whatever. And a lot of people aren't going to movie theaters anymore because it's too expensive. You hear about the whole thing about a lot of people aren't going out to eat anymore at restaurants and stuff because it's just way too expensive to do so. So if all that's way too expensive, how do you expect gaming to get any cheaper? How do you expect the thing that a lot of people love and complain about to get any cheaper? Now, no. Hardware probably can't get any cheaper. We can keep hardware as it is, and if these big companies like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo is their own little thing, like we always say, they're still like behind a generation or two with the Nintendo Switch 2. So they're not like caught up to everybody else yet, but still their system had to go up a bit of money too with the Nintendo Switch 2 costs, and then the Nintendo Switch 1 they had to raise prices on because of hardware and stuff being more expensive and stuff like that. But the whole thing is, why does Sony have to try to talk? Why does Sony and Microsoft, more so Sony now than Microsoft? Microsoft's doing the whole, well, everything's an Xbox thing, which is a smart move on their part. So even if they can't sell what is becoming their overpriced Xboxes now, their Xbox One systems, even though, or Xbox Series consoles, I should say, sorry, excuse me, not Xbox One. I love that console too, but I was probably one of the very few people that liked the Xbox One. But I got my Series X. I like that console. I like that console a lot. It's a great media center in my living room. I like playing games on it once in a while. Mostly it's just a media center, but I do play games on it. I'm playing, like I said, I'm playing RoboCop, and I'm going to be playing RoboCop, not just Rogue City, but I'm going to be playing the next RoboCop. I keep forgetting the name of that part of the game, the DLC. Well, I'll just say the DLC soon. So, and I've been playing my Xbox, and a lot of other games that I can't play anywhere else that I can only play on an Xbox right now is probably a great way to play it. But more so, I've been moving more. Well, I've been for a while now, but I've been moving more to PC gaming because they've been focusing more on an open effort to bring more of their games and more of other people's games to just more so a PC-centric rollout, so that I can play my games either on the console, I can play them on my desktop here, or now, which they're pushing because of the new upcoming handhelds that they're working with Asus with, is the ROG Allies, and that's portable gaming, to get these PC games to run very well on a portable system so that people have more choice. Now, Sony's going the route of, oh, we're talking about the next PlayStation. It's going to be very, very powerful. And the PlayStation 6, as they like to, I think they already called it the PlayStation 6. Oh, it's going to have 3 different SKUs. One of those SKUs is going to be the handheld version. That's going to be a handheld that's like the Switch or the Switch 2 or whatever they want to, they just say Switch, I think. And you can dock it and you can undock it like a console. And then you're going to have 2 other SKUs, and they're going to be way more powerful. Everything's going to be way more powerful. It's going to have all this extra memory in there. It's going to be the most powerful systems. And they're just talking about power this, power that. We're going to put special custom CPU chips and GPUs and SoCs in these things that push pixels and 4K, 8K, this and that. And all they do is talk about the numbers. But what Sony has not been talking about for the longest time now is about the games. Microsoft is more focused and talking about the games, at least nowadays, and not the hardware. Even though they've been talking about the ROG Allies, and they did do their little smidgen talks about, oh, well, we got this new powerful Xboxes in the works and stuff, and it's like, and we're working with AMD. That's what everybody's been talking about. I'm like, you don't have to talk about that messaging anymore. You guys, unfortunately, have lost again. And I don't think they're going to continue to win. See, the only way Microsoft is, and everybody's been saying there's no more console wars, and there isn't. Sony's been unfortunately winning it, which I don't understand how or why people still gravitate to the PlayStation, even though they haven't been rolling out with very much of anything that I find interesting lately. But yet people still seem to be buying them and playing games on them. I don't know why, but that's the whole prerogative on it. And you would think more people would want to gravitate to the Xbox, or at least the PC side of Xbox, because you got Game Pass. It seems like Xbox. Now, note to me, because I don't have a PlayStation 5 or anything like that, or 4 or 5 or anything like that. So I don't know what kind of sales and deals they offer in the PlayStation store. So I am an outlier on that. So forgive me for saying, but on Xbox. Every time I boot up my Xbox or my Xbox app on Windows or something like that, and I'm searching for games or I'm ready to download one of my games that I already own, I always see these big banners of pop-ups in their stores saying, hey, we got another big sale. They got another big sale. They're doing the whole Steam thing where they're having their own Xbox Steam sales going on. And these things are so crazy usually that you get such great deals on games that are, you probably never played. They're either brand new or maybe it's something you might want to take a chance on. And I've been purchasing games left and right digitally because now that physical is basically almost officially dead in the games universe, mostly in games. Now, luckily for TV and movies and stuff, we could still buy physical discs, which I have. I've recently just purchased that Cyberpunk Edge Runners Blu-ray collection that everybody's been complaining about how it's been being too expensive, but I guess they're not that big of they're not as big of Cyberpunk fanatics as I am, where I'm looking at, I'm like, well, you get this awesome big art booklet that shows all the art from the show and what they were doing and stuff. You get these actual prints, the actual cells to what they were using to draw and make up the show, which I find very fascinating because I like that. It's like a piece of history right there where you're getting these cells, which aren't usually cheap when people sell cells to shows and movies and stuff, where I'm like, oh, I get a cell of this so I can see it and have it for my collection. And then they had a bunch of other stuff I forgot about in it. But then it's all coming out on Blu-rays. It's going to be in full HD and stuff. Now, I already have Cyberpunk Edge Runners on my personal streaming when I ripped the show from Netflix from my various software that's able to do it. Now, like I say to people, they're like, well, you're ripping off Netflix. Well, first off, I've subscribed to Netflix. And I'm just recording the show just like you would DVR a show or record off a VHS recorder off your TV for any satellite or TV show. So, and I'm not sharing it with anybody else. So technically, I'm not doing anything wrong or illegal. And on top of it, like I said, if the show comes out on Blu-ray and stuff later, which Cyberpunk, Edge Runners, and a whole bunch of these other shows are, I'm going to buy it. And even though I'm spending a premium on this, but I think it's worth it because it's a nice collector's edition that I find very interesting on Crunchyroll from. I purchased that Cyberpunk Edge Runners thing because I believed in physical copies of that stuff, and I will buy physical discs of movies and TV shows as long as they keep providing them. So that's me. And I just bought a whole collection of Blu-rays and DVDs as well of other movies and stuff on Amazon when they had the big Amazon sale for all these movies and TV shows. And I'm like, I just got to buy them all because they're just a whole bunch of them. I'm spending like $100 on just those alone of the collection I got getting off of Amazon. But all this stuff I'm finding on sale. So I've been steadily collecting a lot more Blu-rays and DVDs and movies and TV shows because it's worth it for me. But in the gaming area of gaming, we don't have that much. You could still buy physical copies of games in a store for like an Xbox or PlayStation, but those are just shells of their former selves. There's no actual, if there is an actual game on there, it is broken. It's not the full game. You still got to download and use the internet to download the rest of the games 90% of the time. And if you don't have internet nowadays, I don't know what to tell you because you're going to need internet if you're going to want to play games nowadays. You're going to need internet one way or another to download, patch, whatever a game, and it's going to be gigabytes in size. So people saying, oh, yeah, well, these whole cartridge things with Nintendo Switch 2s where they're just a little code on a cartridge and people are getting up in arms about that stuff. I'm like, why don't you just buy your games digitally now? If Nintendo's going the route of, oh, we're going to try to sell you these shell cases with nothing in them except the fake game key card, why don't you just buy them digitally? You know, unless if some that the game gets like really cheap or something on a store shelf for the game key card version, and then you take it and then you download the game and then never have to worry about it. The only thing I worry about Nintendo digitally wise is I don't think Nintendo can be trusted with digital purchases yet. They got to prove to me that they are going to respect the games going forward if you get it not just from Switch to Switch 2, but Switch 2 and beyond, so we can play these games beyond our Switch if you're going to have newer systems down the road that are going to be able to be all digital or whatnot, or mostly all digital if they're going to continue to still do the cartridge thing, which it seems even like for Nintendo that's a more harder thing to do because cartridges can only hold so much. They cost a lot of money still, which I don't understand why Nintendo hasn't come up with a better way to provide or make or have cartridges made at a cheaper price. I don't know why that is. It's probably got to do with memory costs and stuff like that. And it's like, well, why didn't you just put them on discs, by the way, or something? I don't know. Nintendo, in a way, is really weird on that. And it's like, if they're scared of retailers not providing like their product on store shelves because they go all digital, they got to stop doing that. They got to stop being outliers on that. They should just go all digital with the next Nintendo units out there. If anybody's going to be going all digital, Nintendo has to go all digital now. Because if their games aren't going to be fully on a little cartridge and stuff going forward, and like I said, they got to also be very respective. They got to respect the gamers and their games going forward so people can keep playing their games and not just say, oh, well, we're not going to have the store work on this one, or it's going to be different on this next unit. You're going to have to rebuy all these games. We're going to resell you all these games. They can't do that. If they keep doing that, they're going to lose their market. They're going to lose their market, their fans and people, and then they're going to be out of luck just like anybody else. Nintendo isn't immune to all this stuff. And like I said, going forward, like I said, Microsoft is more so, they're not totally forgetting their consoles and hardware, but they're more in the background. Now, sure, their handheld initiative is going, they're trying to make that a bit stronger and better, and they're trying to dip their toes into the market a bit more with Asus and stuff, partnering with them instead of just making and designing their own, even though they helped design the Xbox ROG Allies. But the ROG Ally already came out previously before this Xbox ROG Ally. Microsoft was kind of working on their own, and then they abandoned it because they thought, well, this is going to take us too long, too much money, too much time, and we got problems in our own divisions where our corporate overlords are killing our budgets and not liking what we're doing with the hardware. We're not selling as much hardware. So we might as well go with a third party that knows how to put out this stuff a lot faster and better and all that. It'll support us and support the system, and they want to make money too. And we'll just keep selling the software because we're a giant publisher now. That's what Microsoft's doing. And on top of, we'll sell our games on PlayStation. We'll eventually try to sell our games on Nintendo Switch too, which I'm surprised they haven't had more of their catalogs on the Switch too. But here's the thing, nobody's been having too many of their games and catalogs on the Switch too, because it seems like Nintendo's stonewalling everybody for some weird reasons, but it's Nintendo. Nintendo will be Nintendo on how they do stuff. It's always completely backwards. But like I said, going forward, prices of hardware and stuff is just going to get more expensive, and gaming is going to be a premium. Unless if you're ready to take the initiative to go full PC. Now, PC's still expensive, but they can use them for more stuff than just gaming. You can use them for school. You can use them for work. You can do a lot of stuff with a PC. I do many things with my PCs. Or if you get a portable gaming PC, a handheld, sure, you're paying a small premium, but you got it in your hands. It's portable. You could hook it up to your TV set if you really wanted to. They do have things where you can hook it up to your TV set. Just get a wireless gaming controller like an Xbox controller and just, play your games through that on your big screen TV from your ROG Ally. You could do that as well. So it's an all-in-one awesome solution to do that if you want that instead of having a more expensive premium console. Sure, you can't pop discs in it and stuff like that, and unless if you're willing to spend a little extra money on a bigger NVMe drive like me, where I got the 4 terabyte one. Now note, I was going to get an 8 terabyte one, but then I'm thinking, even though I don't give a shit about the price of an 8 terabyte and NVMe drive, because I can afford to buy an 8 terabyte one, it would be like $900 almost. Actually, I think they were like $600 when I was looking at them. But when I saw the one company selling a 4 terabyte one for like, what was it, like $100 or so, give or take? Maybe, I forgot what it was. It was really cheap. It was like barely over $100. I'm like, okay, maybe I just need 4 terabytes, because I look at my Asus ROG Ally Extreme right now, which is the first generation one. I popped in a 2 terabyte one into that, because at the time, they only had few people making up to 2 terabytes. Like, I haven't seen a 4 or any higher terabyte M.2 drive for those, because they use the special square M.2 drives, the little smaller ones, and not many people make those for many devices out there. So, and then I eventually found out, I could have just got one of those. If I would have waited a little bit longer, I could have got one of those conversion kits, and I could have converted my Asus ROG Ally, and I would have been able to put a regular 2280, I think that's what it's called, NVMe drive in there. And I would have been able to have a standard NVMe drive in that Asus ROG Ally of mine. I could have popped in a 4 to 8 terabyte NVMe drive into that, but I didn't. And still, with just 2 terabytes, I still didn't fill that sucker up. It's close. It's really close. But I think I could still pop in another 1 or 2 games on that Asus ROG Ally. But yet, I've been beating games, so I've been deleting stuff off my ROG Ally, because after I beat them and I don't want to play them anymore, I've been getting more storage. So I'm thinking, well, if I can't fill up my 2 terabyte ROG Ally, 4 terabytes from my new upcoming Xbox Asus ROG Ally, I think that'll be suffice. Then I just don't look too stupid and greedy. Even though the Asus ROG Ally could be used as a computer and whatever else, but I got a lot of computers, let's just say, folks. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to brag, but I got a lot of computers. And I'm going to take a drink very sec, because my throat is already getting parched with all this kind of yelling in this microphone here. Forgive me. But like I said, backtracking, I know this has been a long talk, but gaming is going to be more expensive if we like it or not. It just depends on how we like the game. You got to focus. People got to start focusing on, what do you like to play? What is that game on? Can you go to a system that works for you? Now, for me, I've been beating this drum for a while. I've been an Xbox fanboy for a while now, since after the PS3, because after the PS3, the PS4 and 5 just have nothing for me. And a lot of those games I could get on Steam, which I did. I got Ratchet and Clank, which I still haven't played yet. I want to play that eventually. I got Horizon Zero Dawn. I got all this other stuff. And we've been hearing rumblings from Sony that maybe they might be eventually putting some first-party games on the Xbox or something. Maybe we'll get these games where they'll go on the Xbox PC side of the store, and I'll be able to get achievements for like Spider-Man or something. That would be cool. I would totally buy Spider-Man and all these other games again, just because I could get achievements for them on my Xbox. That would be a sly way to get more money out of people like me, because that would be a reason for me, because I'm an achievement whore, to play those games on that. But also I understand that I also understand that Sony's still going to want to be first party, but it's only going to last so long before people don't want to spend $700-800 on a console, which then they're not getting any games for and whatnot. At least Microsoft is focusing on the games and Game Pass, which a lot of people don't like as well, because these people still think Game Pass is not a moneymaker and it's hurting innovation. We'll talk about that in a little bit, because I got a whole slew of stuff here. But my belief is, and I'm not saying this as an Xbox fanboy or anything, and even though I'm not liking Microsoft too much on the way they've been doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes and policies and stuff, but for gaming-wise, as a gamer, I've been still focused on Xbox and Xbox for PC and stuff, mostly Xbox for PC, and looking for those things of, can I play this game via my ROG Ally? Can I play this via cloud? Because now they got that, they've been pushing that cloud initiative for so long now with cloud gaming and all that. And it seems to me, which I've played, a few games in the cloud recently, these higher end games like Assassin's Creed Shadows. I played Star Wars Outlaws a bit, and I'll try out some other games, but I've been playing those via cloud game streaming from Xbox's cloud because I'm a Game Pass Ultimate member. I've been finding out and feeling that, at least where I'm at in my area, because I know there's other people that say, oh, cloud gaming ain't good, it ain't ready, it looks crappy, it plays crappy. It depends on where you live. These people I keep hearing about this stuff, they live in Ohio. Maybe Ohio doesn't have that good of internet bandwidth, or the servers aren't very good in Ohio for cloud gaming for Xbox for some reason. Maybe there's something wrong over there, because over here, for me, I'm getting really good streaming. I get really good. It looks really good. It looks like I have the game on my system, but it's not. It's going through the cloud. And I was, like I said, playing chunks of these games, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot better than it used to be. Because I remember Xbox Cloud Gaming in the early days, in the very early days, in the beta days, and I tried it out. I'm like, oh, this is crappy. This looks like shit. This is all taking forever to load and this and that. And now it's like, it takes like maybe a minute to load, if that, and it loads up into the game. It starts up right away. I can play the game right away. And I'm like, this is like night and day than it used to be. And I'm like thinking, maybe there is something to this cloud gaming thing after all, especially because I got good internet. I got great Wi-Fi in my house. I got the best mesh network system for my house. Maybe there's something to this. Now, note, I still want to be able to play most of my games right from my device. I want those games installed on my hardware, like my ROG Ally or my PC or something, to play off of that. But if I have to, like some of these games, like my Ubisoft games, which this is the big proponent for me, saying, hey, I can play these Ubisoft games streaming from the cloud now and get achievements for them and not have to play them just on Xbox. Because I love my Xbox. Like I said, I like playing games on my Xbox, but I want to play most of my games in my hands, sitting down or laying on the couch or something, or in bed or something. And with a ROG Ally or something, I like that. Or if I want to play them on a PC or something, stream them onto my PC here because I'm close by it, that's a good initiative too. But not everybody has great internet. Not everybody wants to stream games. And I understand that you might not have the best internet. You might not have the best servers around your area. And I can understand that. So you want the best to the most dedicated area where games are at. And like I said, I am going to still say, to me, even though, like I said, I haven't been in the PlayStation ecosystem, but I still read, I still look, I still try to keep tabs as much as I can on the PlayStation side. I think for being a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, being able to see all these great sales and deals that Microsoft's been, or Xbox, I'm just going to say Xbox has been doing on their storefronts lately, has been, because like I said, I bought a ton of these games. I think I bought 3 more games recently, which I'll go through. Smaller, older games, but they were on sale. And I'm like, I'm going to buy these games now because I'm like, it'd be stupid not to because they're cheap now and I can just keep them on hand. And then whenever I decide I want to play them, I have them in my gaming library. And I built a very extensive digital catalog of games, library games, for myself to play if I ever want to play on my ROG Ally, my Xbox, my PC. And with the whole Play Anywhere initiative that Microsoft Xbox is doing, that's a better initiative than what Sony's doing, where they're like, well, you got to play this on a PlayStation 5 or you can't play it anywhere else. We might put it to Steam eventually, or if you're Nintendo Switch, you can only play it on a Nintendo Switch 2. Or if that game was made for the Nintendo Switch first Nintendo Switch, then you can play it on that and a Switch 2. Otherwise, Microsoft's like, well, you can play this game here or there, meaning PC and Xbox. Now, you can buy it on a PlayStation. You can maybe eventually buy it on a Switch 2 when they let more games come into their system, like more Xbox games and stuff. But sure, you're going to pay for them. But for me, if I want the latest, greatest, a lot of that's coming from Microsoft Studios, of game studios. That's not coming from a Sony. That's not even coming from a Nintendo. Now, Nintendo makes some great games, but my focus, like I always tell you guys, I don't even give a care about the Switch 2 right now. Because I'm like, okay, it's a next hotness, it's next greatest. I said, if I'm going to get a Switch 2, eventually, it's going to be that OLED Switch, because that'll have updated hardware at that time when 2 to 3 years down the road, depending on when Nintendo decides, if they decide to make one. And 2, that's when it'll have an OLED screen on it. And I would rather have an OLED screen than the regular screen because I'm just like that. And I believe, well, if I'm going to game with this in the future, if I want to play Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that, which I have all those, I would like to play it on a better screen because I know I'm not going to play it probably not on a TV or anything. I'm going to play it on the handheld. And even so, I might want like an OLED version of the Switch 2 that is just one of those maybe mini Switches like they had for the Switch 1. They had the Switch lights. Maybe they'll have a Switch 2 light and it'll have an OLED screen on it or something, and it'll be all digital, and then I'll be playing games on that. Now, note, I'd probably have to rebuy. Well, no, they'll have cartridges. They'll have cartridge slots on it. I think the original ones had cartridge slots, but still, all in all, it's like, do I really care about that? Where do I care about most of my games? And most of my games are PC, ROG Ally, or ROG Ally PC if you want to really say it, and Xbox. That's where I've been playing all my games. That's where all my games are coming from. That's where I'm getting all my deals. That's where I get most of my games are free because they're on Game Pass and I can just download and play them. If I don't like them, I can get rid of them and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to spend extra money on playing games that I don't like. Whereas if I was just before Game Pass and all that, I was like, is this game going to be good or not? I don't know. It's not on sale. And then I just went on and waited till it went on sale. And I bought a disc-based version of the game back in the day. And I took a chance on that. Now, you could test them out, play them. If you like them, you can buy them still for a discount. I don't know. I just feel like people don't understand or get where, like, you can get a lot of great gaming done. Now, I know there's a lot of people that are biased on Xbox because they're like, well, the graphics are a little better on a PlayStation and all that, and Microsoft sucks and this and that, and then all these games that are on the PlayStation are on an Xbox. Well, eventually, that's not going to be the case. Eventually, everything's going to be on everything, eventually, especially on things like Xbox PC gaming and stuff going forward, because Microsoft even stated that their next-gen systems are going to be more PC-based because they want to be able to have these games played not just on them natively, but on a ROG Ally or a PC or something going forward. So that's not going to matter. And then if Sony, like I said, eventually starts porting and making games for just Xbox like they did with Helldivers and begrudgingly with MLB The Show when they started putting that, if they put their top-notch games like Spider-Man, anything else, Spider-Man, God of War, Horizon Zero Dawn, Ratchet and Clank, if they start putting games like that on the Xbox and PC, Xbox and stuff storefronts, then it's game over. Then it's just anybody's game. And we can all benefit from that. We can benefit from sales, digital sales and stuff. And that's what I try to do. I try to benefit from digital sales, Game Pass, cloud gaming, stuff like that. And not just going, well, I just want the best console and spend this much money. I'm done with that. I got a PC. I got a ROG Ally. I got an Xbox Series X. My Xbox Series X is probably going to be my last official Xbox that I have, that I ever buy from a console. And like I said, my consoles going forward is going to be a PC and my ROG Ally. And then eventually, if they go beyond an Xbox Series console, like if my Series X one day does not do gaming anymore, and it does not, they shut off all the video storefronts or whatever, to be able to play anything on it, that's when I go full PC and I just put a PC in the living room again, like I did once before. But this time it'll be perfect because PCs now and beyond will be able to do what I want them to do, and it'll be my new next gen Xbox, because an Xbox is anything. So what I'm trying to say is, if you want to save money on gaming going forward, don't think that a PlayStation 6 and stuff is going to help you. Don't think the next generation Xbox is going to be anywhere different. Don't think any of these prices on any of these consoles are going to go down any significant way. Unless if a retailer decides they want to try to, exit some stock and stuff, or if they're trying to get people into their stores more, or their online stores, and they do special sales on like consoles and stuff, or bundles or something. That's the only way you're going to save money. Otherwise, gaming is going to just be more expensive. You're going to see $700-$800 consoles. You're going to see all of these different things coming out and stuff, which I think is the wrong idea. I think for Microsoft, just have one console. The next console, just one console. No Series S or X variants, just one console. Make it smaller. Doesn't have to be more powerful. It could just be power efficient and make it so that it'll run things better and cheaper and stuff like that. That's all they have to do. Then focus on the ROG Ally and their Play Anywhere initiative. For Sony, well, Sony's going the way of both Microsoft and Nintendo, it sounds like, or what rumors have it sound like, where they're just going off like, oh, we're going to make a light version and a more expensive version of our PlayStation 6, and then we're going to have this hybrid PlayStation where it's going to be dockable and stuff like that, when we're not even selling that many as we used to. And not many people are buying their games on it like they used to. We got people like, I got a store here where I'm just going to quickly go from now, where Capcom was saying that the high price that they're blaming, Capcom's actually blaming Sony, says the high price of the PlayStation 5 gaming is affecting Monster Hunter Wild sales, which a lot of people have been saying, well, maybe Monster Hunter World isn't that great of a game anyways, which I got to say yes, because I played the beta, the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. I did not like it. Now, note, I tried a lot of Monster Hunter games, and I did not really care for them, but Monster Hunter Wild was really not that good. And I hear it's really broken as well. But people are talking about, and this is beyond the story of how, they sold less after Monster Hunter Wilds is selling less now than it was before, and they sold in 10.1 million copies after its release of Monster Hunter Wilds, and now it's not selling that much at all anymore, which I'm like, well, it's been out for 4 years? Of course they're not going to be selling that much, but they're still saying, well, these consoles, we're not getting that much throughput with these consoles, and people aren't buying our game because they don't have the console to play it on. and it's only on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and stuff like that. Is it even on the? Yeah, I think it's on the X and S, but they're blaming that. But also, you got the people, these gamers that were commenting saying, well, it's not just because it's the game is not selling because of the console's expenses, because the game is broken, and that you're also charging $70+ for a game that's not worth $70+. And we're talking a little bit here because there's going to be a bit of news in this section as well. So we're going to be talking some news stuff here as well. So forgive me on this, but also talking higher prices in gaming. I was just talking about the Lenovo Legion Go 2. Apparently it's coming out this October, and it's going to be starting at $1,099 for the Lenovo. I can usually say that. Lenovo Legion Go 2. It was previewed back in CS2 2025, around the time that AMD, the Z2 Extreme chip was announced and stuff, that it will power it. But it is coming out in October, the same time that the Xbox Asus ROG Ally is coming out. They're talking about it's going to have different variations. They're going to have a bunch of different new models on it. And it's going to start out at $1,099. That's for the lower base version. Now, note, that isn't going to use the Z2 Extreme chip, which I always say, if you're just going to get the regular AMD Z, like the Z1 chips, I said don't get the Z1 ROG Ally, get the Z1 Extreme or Z1 Extreme ROG Ally, because you're going to want that power boost. You're going to want those extra threads in the SoC. You're going to want all that extra power and bandwidth to play games on. And I know this is a lot different. This is the next gen AMD portable gaming SoC on a chip. But the Lenovo Legion Go 2, like I said, if you're going to be a gamer and you want portability, you're going to have to pay for it. Unless if you want to get a Nintendo Switch 2, or if you want to get a Steam Deck that, like I said, is running a Linux-based operating system with a game emulation that doesn't work on all PC games, that only works on a number of PC games that can't run games when they have copyright or copy protection software on them and stuff like that, or anti-cheat and stuff. You're going to be out of luck with that because that software does not handle that stuff properly, and it's not something that you're going to be happy with if you can only play a certain number of titles, which more and more people are putting anti-cheat stuff in their games, and they're doing more stuff with anti-cheat. So Valve and Steam are going to have to do something differently with their next generation Steam Decks so they can handle that kind of copy protection and anti-cheat software stuff. I know people like, I think I heard with like an update or a next gen version of the Unreal Engine or something, they're supposed to, or they're working with Unreal. I forgot. I thought they were working with Epic or somebody. They were working with them and the Steam Deck people at Valve to get like something like new software, new anti-cheat / anti-piracy software that will be able to work on that kind of technology better. But I don't know what's happening with that. Plus, like I said, if you get a Windows-based gaming handheld device, if you're not too squeamish about Windows, you're going to be able to play most of your games on that device, depending on how powerful it is. And if you want to play other games with it, you're going to have to get the keyboard and mouse out and plug it into your TV or something, which is okay, because then you can have a big giant screen to play like Civilization and stuff. I want to try to play it on a little screen like that, but it's possible. It's possible. But yeah, it's going to be more expensive to play games going forward, because then you got like this, the AMD Lenovo Legion Go 2 Z2 Basic Edition of that with 16 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD. That's the $1,099.99 one, or $1,100 one. I should just say that. Forget the $99.99. It's $1,100 plus tax plus whatever else. Then I got a 32 gigabyte, 1 terabyte version of that same Z2 Basic model for $1,200. Then if you want more power and you want to get a Z2 Extreme version of the Lenovo Legion Go 2 model, you'll get that. You'll get 32 gigs of RAM built into that, a 1 terabyte SSD. That's going to set you back $1,350. So notice a lot higher. That's definitely gaming laptop, under gaming laptop pricing. And then if you want the AMD Z2 Extreme version with 32 gigs of RAM and 2 terabyte SSD, which I'm thinking, well, if it's an M.2 drive, NVMe M.2 drive in those, couldn't you just pop in your own M.2 drive into one of these suckers instead of just buying one of their premium versions? Well, that 2 terabyte version of that one is going to cost you almost $1,480 for that. And that's not including all the other stuff. So not a cheap device. Will the Xbox ROG Ally, will that be cheaper than this stuff? Maybe. Even with the Asus ROG Ally now, with the X and all that, even though those went up in price, they're still cheaper than the Lenovo Legion Goes and stuff like that. They're still pretty much cheaper than a lot of other things out there. So I wouldn't throw past them for not undercutting, but you're going to spend yourself a good chunk of money on one of these handhelds. Because remember, you got a computer in your hand with all this stuff in your hand. So they're packing all this stuff in your hand with a computer, the power of a computer in your hand, and you're expecting to pay what? $300-$400 for that? No. Now here's what is going to complicate things for the future of gaming. This is where I'm talking about how is the future of gaming going to go? How is this? It's going to be a lot more expensive. There's going to be some cool stuff coming out, but you're going to have to be able to spend some money because it's going to be more expensive. And I'm not talking about gaming software in general, even though that still has the potential to still go up because people have been trying. Microsoft tried to bump their games up to $80, but failed, thank God, because Nintendo did it with just one game, and that was that Mario Kart bullshit. And, Nintendo's got to stop playing around with that shit. And then Microsoft tried to follow suit and tried to charge $80 for their titles. And then after people said, fuck you, Microsoft, which they should, because I said the same thing, instead of trying, even though I got Game Pass and it doesn't really matter, I'm still saying fuck you, Microsoft, because it's like, okay, games just went to $70. You should be focused on just $70 for your games, because then you should have never said, oh, we're only going to charge. You should have went to $80 right away if you guys weren't going to get greedy like that and jump another $10 onto a price tag for like the Outer Worlds 2 and stuff like that they were talking about. I understand they want to get people push people to Game Pass, but why would you do that kind of stuff? It seems sleazy to me. But game publishers around the world, even Take-Two, EA, Ubisoft, all of them, all the big ones, they're all talking to each other and talking to themselves and going, let's see who tries to charge more for their software. Let's see if we can get this, we'll charge more for a software approach. That's why you hear all these news stories on games and all these gamers are worried. Are you charging $80 for that game? Well, how much is that game going to be? Is it going to be 70 or 80? 70, 80? The biggest one of them all is probably Grand Theft Auto 6. And excuse me, I got like stuff in my eye. Oh boy. So Grand Theft Auto 6 next year, we're getting people going crazy right now. All these gamers out there going, oh, this is going to be $100 game. They spend billions of dollars on this game already. It's almost $1 billion game. They're spending all this money because they took so much time for this game. What is this game going to be costing us? It's going to be $100 a game for this Grand Theft Auto 6. And then you have other people like Jeff Gerstmann stuff going, no, I don't think they're going to be charging $80 to $100 for Grand Theft Auto 6. They could try, but they're probably not going to do that because they want people to buy their game. And if you overprice for your game, you're not going to get that many sales on that game. And then you're going to be hesitant and people are going to be like, oh, wow, too expensive for my taste. When you start pricing out most of your consumers out there, and like I said, people's financial situations aren't as good as they used to be either. Especially nowadays, I hear more and more that everybody's crying and complaining about money nowadays, even though I still see people driving on the road in record numbers. I don't know why they have money for gas and stuff when they got not really going anywhere and doing anything. But anyhow, people are complaining about their financial situations around here and jobs and stuff like that. But technology is going to get more expensive one way or another. Games will eventually go up again. Unfortunately, I can see it because they want it so badly. But people can fight with their wallets and say, hey, if your games are $80 and we don't want to spend $80, we'll wait till they go on sale. We'll wait till they drop back down to 70 or 60. Stuff like that. And if everybody does that, but like I said, not everybody has the most common sense / what should I say? Trying to think of the term. A lot of people don't have that. What's the term? Mike? Holding themselves back. That's what I'm trying to say. They don't got that holding themselves back kind of thing. I know that's a bad term. I know what the word is. It just slips my mind sometimes. But people got to check themselves at the door when it comes to buying these games, not just publishers. If the gamers think that the game isn't worth that kind of money and they're being reasonable about it and they say, well, I'm not going to buy it at this price, but I'll buy it at that price. If this game is like $80, but I'm only willing to pay $65, then eventually they're going to have to wait it out and wait for that game to go down to $65. And then eventually you'll have that sale. But if you would have had that game at like $70 or $65 at the time, you probably would have got a bunch more sales depending on that type of game. You would have probably made a lot more money off of that, but you chose not to. See what I mean? And games aren't going to get any cheaper unless if they're on sale on like Xbox and Steam and PlayStation Store and stuff like that. So that's going to be an interesting thing on how games prices. And that's what indies help. Indies help level off the playing field because even though they're not AAA games, they're good games. And one of these games can become like cult-like games and more people will play those indie games than AAA games. And maybe people will go out and buy like one or two AAA games going forward, and they'll say, "Yeah, most of my games are going to be indie or Steam sale games or something like that." And like I said, I'm one of those people. If it's not a game I know I'm going to love to buy and play right away, I'll wait and I'll buy games like when they're on sale, like I did with a lot of my games, like Star Wars Outlaws, this and that, and I'll save myself some money on those games, and I'll be able to play them anyway. Going back to all that. But hardware-wise, I was talking about how, and I know I'm jumping back and forth, but back to the hardware. Rumor has it that TSMC, if you don't know who they are, they're the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They're the ones that basically make the chips for like everything from your Xbox, PlayStation. They make AMD chips. They make Intel chips sometimes. They make NVIDIA chips. They help make, I think, ARM chips as well. I think they make ARM chips. And they're basically the biggest player. They're just basically unrivaled, because now that Intel is basically floundering about and they can't get their fabs to be good and all this other bullshit going on with Intel, that they just let it happen themselves, that they just went in the wrong direction and stuff for all these years, that it's all their fault, because Intel used to be the number one top company and AMD was barely making it. AMD back in the day, I remember Tech Guy podcast saying, is AMD going to be around still? Is AMD going to succeed? And I was like, I hope AMD is, because I was always for the little guy. Now AMD's like the big guy and Intel's like the no guy. Really, it just got switched so fast, and AMD still does good by their chips and stuff, and they're still pushing technology, not as fast and far as, a lot of other things could do, but they still try to make good chips and not fuck up like Intel did. But still, all in all, TSMC makes the chips for everybody. They make chips for Apple, like I said, NVIDIA, stuff like that. And they're like the biggest player. They're in Taiwan first. They are sort of building stuff here in the United States and Arizona and stuff. Who knows if that'll ever come to fruition or not, if those TSMC fab factories actually get built here, and what's going to happen with that stuff. But a lot of problems and a lot of money's been going on with that, and they're even stating that. But they've been talking about, well, we might have to start raising our prices from like 5 to 10% or even more, depending on what we are making. Either if we're making advanced nodes below 5 nanometer and 2 nanometer processes, which they say is going to go in mass production in late 2025. 3 nanometer wafers are priced around $2,000 each, which a wafer is like one of these big, you ever see these big giant like chip like things? They got 100, like a bunch of chips on this big wafer. That's what they're talking about, wafers, because they're big round things that they stamp a lot of these SoCs and stuff on to make chips for people and stuff, like NVIDIA and Apple and all that they put in their products, and that runs all their stuff and all that. But they're the biggest name out there that make all this stuff. And of course, they're mostly overseas. They're by China. They're in Taiwan, which China wants to take over. They are talking, like they said, they are still talking that they are trying to appease Trump and America and stuff, and try to get some of these chips made here in America, which they've been talking about this Arizona fab producing 4 nanometer chips in early 2025, supplying Apple and NVIDIA, which they were also talking or thinking about. A second facility is expected to start volume production of sub 3 nanometer processes by as early as 2027 here in American Arizona, which to me, even though these are just small fabs here in the United States, that's something. That's something being produced here. I don't know how well it's going to work out for them, but if they can get it to work here, that'd be great, because then if somehow, Taiwan gets taken over by China, and China goes to war and everything, even if they don't get taken over, if China's blowing up Taiwan and TSMC gets blown up or something over there goes all their fabs. If we got a few fabs over here, that's at least decent, because we'll have 3 to 4. Maybe they'll build 2 nanometer fabs here or something someday. Who knows? But at least we have something. But like they said, because the rising costs, because they're building fabs over here, and it's causing delays, and costs are more expensive and stuff and all that, that they said, well, we gotta we got to still make tons of money for us and our people. We got to still be number one. Our products are costing more to make, from the silicon, the wafers to the chemicals used, the blah, 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 that makes these big wafer chips and stuff like that. All made reasonable stuff, especially the people that work on them. They got to get paid too. And costs got to go up. So that means costs of your SoC for your Xbox, your PlayStation, your Switch 2, your whatever, ROG Allies included, PC CPU chips, etc., for AMDs and etc., Snapdragon chips and stuff. They're all going to go up in cost a bit because TSMC knows they're the only big game in town, and they know that if you're not using their chips, who are you going to go to, really? You going to go to Intel? Going to go to Samsung? Or you're going to put up with their bullshit, which is not really bullshit because they're trying to do stuff. They're trying to work with a bunch of people. They work with a ton of people that they got to make stuff for. So they got shit being made for everybody all the time on their fabs. That's a big undertaking. That costs a lot of money. And where's that money going to cost? Us, the gamers. Us, the people that use their technology. Us that uses anything of their technology. So overall, if I'm going to conclude this very long statement that I've been talking about, yes, gaming is going to be more expensive than ever, unless if people wait for sales, buy more indie games, and but will AAAs be around for a very long time? Will these giant companies eventually say, okay, instead of making these super big, expensive, open world, whatever kind of games, maybe we'll make more smaller games and make them better and better story? Will they change their tunes on how games are made? Will EA change its tune? Will, Sony's, I don't know what Sony's doing behind the scenes with their studios. Their studios seem like they're all in a flux right now with all that live gaming initiative that kind of started to go down, sink into the ocean like the Titanic and just hit the iceberg, and now it's like with all their games and stuff. You got Bungie eventually going to get melted into the giant Sony regime machine and stuff, and I don't know what they're doing besides like Wolverine and stuff, but Sony's got to do some shit. They got to get some games besides The Last of Us 2s and 3s. They can't focus on other people like Final Fantasy and stuff from Square Enix because Square Enix is making they said they're going to work, any new Final Fantasy is going to come to Xbox and anywhere else they could put it on because they're not making enough money off Sony's hardware and stuff and games and stuff. So it's going to be a time where people are going to have to think, unless if you're Nintendo, they might be immune to this a little bit, unless if something really bad happens to them. They're kind of immune to this right now. But still, they're creeping up as well. But if all their competition goes away and it's just Nintendo and the PC again or something like that, Nintendo will be like, well, we don't have to worry because we're the only handheld gaming console in town. When everybody jumps ship and stuff, and Microsoft's selling their software, but they put their software on our Switch, they're putting it on PC, we don't have to really worry about that. But other people like Take-Two and all these other people got to think about the future and how to make these games. Now, I know a lot of gamers are like, but I got to have that AAA. I got to have the best graphics and sound and this and that and blah, 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 blah. We're all spoiled. Let's face it. We're all spoiled. I'm spoiled. I am very spoiled. I spoil myself. I spend a lot of my money on video games, gaming hardware, stuff in the gaming verse, entertainment in general. I love spending a ton of money on entertainment because it makes me happy. It makes me love. I like to love stuff. I just played and beat like the rest of Bioshock Infinite's DLC yet last night, and I just love playing it again because I bought it again. And, I love playing these indie games. I bought a bunch of them. Like I said, I'm going to talk about some games I just purchased. I got a big catalog of a library. I'm almost done with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black and stuff. I love games. I love buying them. Now, do I always want to buy $80, $70, $80 games? No, not anymore. Not unless if it's one of those rare special games. Even so, I bought Star Wars Outlaws. That was worth it. But now I got it digitally too, so I don't really care about Star Wars Outlaws, my physical copy of Star Wars Outlaws. I don't need that anymore because I don't play it anymore, but I'll keep the disc and all that. But still, I bought it digitally when it was on sale the last time. For Assassin's Creed Shadows, remember I bought that when it was on sale on Amazon, and then I returned it because I found out it was on sale cheaper on the Xbox store if I got the digital version of that, because I found out, you got to have the digital version to be able to play the cloud version of Assassin's Creed Shadows. And then when I found out that Assassin's Creed Shadows, the cloud-based version was played so well, I'm like, so I did that with Avatar too, which I'll talk about in a second. But my initiative is, if I'm going to buy the latest, greatest games, most of my latest, greatest games are all going to be Game Pass because they're all coming from Bethesda, 434 Studios. Not that they've been making any good Halo games lately, but the Gears, I can't even say their names. Gears of War franchises, your Elder Scrolls, your Skyrim. I already said Elder Scrolls. Like I said, your Outer Worlds 2 people over there, Psychonauts people. I'm trying to Double Fine. I mean, I've been saying the games. I haven't been saying the studios. I've been getting the games in my head, but not the studios. But I'm trying to think. What are they called? A lot of studios. Let's say a lot of. We got that. Maybe that we're gonna get announced that new Forza Horizon game. That's gonna be Game Pass day one. So a lot of games that I would have to pay $70 or $70+ on. Most of these games that I play that I like to play are now basically free when I'm paying like $21 a month for my Game Pass subscription because they're all coming out on Game Pass. And then a lot of third-party games are on Game Pass. And I'm like, sometimes there's so many games on Game Pass, I just can't keep up with all of the games. I'm like, I'd love to play your game, but I got these games to play in this game. So I am spoiled with that. And that's besides the point of me, these are games that were on Game Pass, but they're going away, but they're on sale for a very good price, so I'll buy them. I can play them on my ROG Ally anytime I want, or my PC or whatnot, or my console. That just makes that whole initiative better for me. So I'm good where I'm at with gaming. But if you're a person that wants the latest and greatest, but you can't afford it anymore because you just don't make that money. And I said this to a lot of people, and I've been saying this for a long time. Gaming is very expensive. If you don't have a good job and you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. Then you shouldn't be gaming. That's about to change for a lot of people. Because, like I said, with costs going up considerably, it's going to be outpricing a lot more people out in gaming. Especially people that don't have great jobs or don't know how to save money. I don't know. I can't be an outlier that I'm lucky. I'm a hard worker in what I do. I know how to make money. I know how to finance my budget and all that. I know how to do a lot of stuff. I'm very blessed by that. I learned by myself. Nobody taught me this. I never went to school on how to balance a budget or anything. I never learned that in high school. A lot of people went to accounting and all this. I learned all that by myself. My mom didn't know how to balance her checkbook or anything. She unfortunately passed away a long time ago, very long time ago. Very, very long time ago. And she passed away and she barely had anything to her name. My family, I come from a very poor family. So I'm very lucky for what I do and what I can do with what I got and learn how to budget and do this and afford something like gaming, which used to be super cheap, but now is super expensive. And I could still afford it in better ways. And with Game Pass and stuff like that, helps me afford that more, even though a lot of people don't like that. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I feel really good with this. I feel like I have something and that it is worth it to me. And I said to all you guys, I'm like, hey, if games go to $80 or more, I will wait on them. I said that about $70. I'm like, $70 is, and it's going to be depending on the game, or else I'll wait. And I do, and I wait on a lot of games. Now, if it's not a game that I really, truly love and want to play day one, I'll wait on it. They'll eventually go cheaper on sale, and then I'll eventually buy it, at a good steal price. So that's what people are going to have to do. Wait for sales, wait for these companies to figure it out and go, oh shit, nobody's buying our stuff because we're charging $70, $80 for it. Or, oh shit, nobody's buying our consoles anymore because they're so expensive. Now everybody's slowly slipping into the PC game, which if you're ready to take on a PC, which everybody should know how to use a PC. I don't care. If you're not, excuse me for the term, super old, because I'm getting older. That's why I'm going to be the old freaky gamer, but I'm always going to learn. But my grandmother knew how to use a computer, basically, because she knew how to use a typewriter back in the day. So she kind of got the idea of a computer with a screen and typing words and doing some stuff. So she knew how to play Grand Theft Auto. My grandmother, at the age of at that time when she was playing, she was like 85 or something. She was playing Grand Theft Auto 3 with me and running over hookers and shit. And then Grand Theft Auto 4 with Nikolai and all that. She was running over those hookers. She's like, are the hookers in this game? I'm like, yes. Oh, I'm going to bang the hooker and then run them over. I'm like, Grandma, what the fuck are you talking about? If she can do it, I'm like, okay, maybe people understand technology better. And, not everybody's adept in that, but I'm sure a lot of older people aren't playing games either if they don't know how to use a computer. But if you want to play games nowadays, I think the route to go, unless if you want that Switch or that handheld or something, get a PC. Build a PC. If you're lucky enough to learn how to do that. Not everybody is, but they got pre-builts that are pretty good. But get a ROG Ally, get one of these other things. Get a cheaper ROG Ally. You don't have to get the latest, greatest that I'm getting, the Xbox ROG Ally Extreme. You could get the first edition ROG Ally or ROG Ally X, because I'm sure it'll go back down a little bit in price after the new ones come out. Maybe. It depends. I got some friends, they still play games because they're not really good with computers. I got a couple guys. Eventually, maybe I could get them onto like the ROG Ally at least or something. Be like, hey, if you could play your games on this ROG Ally or something, it's portable, it's good. You can stream it, it works great. You can play your games, but some of these guys just like to play one game, and they still play one game. They're not the kind of guys that you get money from. Now, my one friend, he finally got Game Pass, but he still plays the same game. I still see him play. He likes to play Fight Night. The good Fight Night back in the day, he still plays that online streaming, which is surprisingly still online with EA. EA still hasn't killed Fight Night online. The day that EA decides to kill Fight Night, finally, for online gameplay, I think is the day my friend stops gaming or something. I don't know. I'm trying to get him into playing Gears of War online or something, but he's not the guy that goes out and buys tons of games. No. He's a casual gamer. I'm surprised he bought a new console, but I was like, oh, you should have talked to me. Maybe he could have got you on a PC or ROG Ally. But he's got to play Fight Night, so he's got to have an Xbox to play it. So, all in all, but he's not one of those guys that buys a lot of games. He's not the guy that's making Microsoft, Sony, or any of these big AAA companies money. He just plays one game and he keeps playing it for as long as he can with his friends. Simple as that. So going forward, the future, the fate of gaming, it's going to be a lot more expensive. I hate to say it, but I'm looking at the charts. I'm looking at all the news reviews and everything that's coming out of everywhere, from hardware, even if it's not gaming first, the hardware, that the chips, the stuff that makes these systems, that makes it for these games, when everything of that's going up, and then the games they want to make keep going up in price to make, and then eventually they want to up the price of the game itself, it's not going to be a cheap hobby. And a lot of people are going to fall right off of that hobby if the industry is not careful. Or maybe a lot of these people aren't going to fall off, but a lot of these people are going to discover things on Steam and Game Pass and stuff, and they're going to play the cheap game, and they're going to only game with all these cheap games and these third-party games and these little games, or they're going to play the same games as they always have to get around it because they enjoy the games that they enjoy. And then the whole tower of big giant game studios just comes tumbling down. All your big franchises, all your big open world, all these big corporate entities just fall tumbling down because they priced themselves out of the market. And they didn't want to read the market. They said they denied the market and the people that said, no, you'll pay this price. You'll pay for this stuff. Until people didn't. Look at Ubisoft. Ubisoft is still in shambles after all this time. You think that Assassin's Creed Shadows and a couple other games would have been better? No. They're still fucked up. How about that the Embracer Group? We haven't heard from them in a while. They own a lot of studios and a lot of properties. You don't hear too much from them because they're not doing so hot. Like, I guess, what was the game that was being made? I think it was used with Square Enix. Was it Square? No, it was with, not Square Enix. Not IO. I'm trying to think of the company in that, but they were working. I think they were working on that Perfect Dark game when it all got crumbled down, and then I guess that studio was trying to find another place to maybe help make the game, but I think it was 2K, and then 2K wanted to own the property and franchise, and Microsoft's like, oh hell no, you could make the game for it and sell it with us, but you can't keep the property, the IP, and that all failed. So it's, and I always say this too, and I'm sorry I say this to all you game developers out there. I am so glad I'm not into game development. I'm glad I don't make video games for a living. I'm glad I'm not in that space. Unless if I make my own games at home, if I did made indie games and stuff, okay, but I'm glad I'm not in that space because that's so hard. And we're going to lose a lot of people, a lot of good talent when they're just out of jobs and they got to go flip burgers or do something else because their dream has gone down the drain because companies just want to keep going. And I always also like to blame the stock market. I always like to blame the shareholders. They're the biggest parts of the evil that is everything rising in costs around the world. Let's not put them in any retrospect. Now, I don't personally have many stocks at all. I don't believe in stock market. I think it's a horrible, horrible bad game, which you take one tumble and fall, you're gone. That doesn't matter if you have 401k or whatever. I put my money in other stuff, safer stuff. But for shareholders running these conglomerate, multinational, super big, expensive corporations and just wanting more and more money, more and more and more. It's always more and more and more. It's got to go up. Your numbers got to go up, and numbers got to keep going up. And for eventually, numbers can't keep going up. Your pricing can't keep going up. The numbers of you making money and record profits can't keep going up. You can't sustain that because it's all going to eventually tumble down and go into nothing. But a lot of these people just don't know, or they don't care. And they rather just get their money and then they'll cash out before it all falls apart. If they know when it falls apart, or they don't believe if it falls apart, all their money's going to go to down the drain because it's all going to fall and crumble and fall. I could see bad times coming for gaming in the gaming verse, especially when you got global politics and everything else going on in the world. I could see all that happening. So gaming in the future is going to be niche for a lot of people. Just like how people go out to eat nowadays. It's niche again. I still see a lot of fat people, but it's niche again. I hope the future's good. My future will be okay because, like I said, I got a big back catalog. I got physical games. I got a big digital library. I utilize Steam and Xbox and Game Pass and all that for sales and deals and more. And when I see sales and deals and stuff, I go out and I take those sales and deals and I buy my stuff whenever there's a good sale. I put stuff on wish lists, especially on the Xbox wish list. If something goes on sale, I check that out and see if it's at the price I want. If it's not yet, I'll keep waiting. When that price keeps going down, just like on Steam, if it's at a price that I like, then I buy it. If I want it, if I'm going to play it right away or not, because I know eventually I want to play it and eventually I'll be able to play it because I'll have it in my library of games and I won't have to worry about it. Now, that means that keeps me away from having to buy brand new games all the time. Will there still be games that I buy that are like $70+? Sure, depending on the game. If it's a game like an upcoming, let's just say a Persona game, of course I'm going to spend $70 on a Persona game again because I like Persona games. Eventually, I'm sure we're going to get another Yakuza game or whatever that studio is doing. I don't know when the next Yakuza or whatever's coming out, but whenever they decide to come out, I know they got that other game that they're coming out with. That's an interesting game. I might be interested in that, but they're usually not $70, and if they are, I usually use a gift card to get them cheaper. But those I pay full price for because those aren't usually like Game Pass Day 1 games, and they're usually, more of a premium, even though they try to keep them somewhat cheaper, but I'm sure they're going to be more of a premium because everybody's going that way. But RGG Studios, like I said, if they when they make that next Yakuza game and stuff, I will buy it. I will buy that day one, even if it's $70 or more, because that's the kind of guy I am. And plus, I like to stream them and all that. You got that Cyberpunk game. When that comes out in the next 10 years or so, that Cyberpunk 2 game, I'll end up spending $70, $80 on it because I like Cyberpunk. I like the first one a lot. Played that a bunch of times, beat it, etc., etc. I will play the sequel to that. That's just the kind of guy I am. But I'll pick and choose. I'm not going to buy, this and that and this and that. Nah, that's not going to happen anymore. Not for a lot of people. Not like it used to be. Not like it used to be when games were $50 and people were complaining about games when they were $50 or $60. We're not going to have that anymore. It's just like how game collectibles have become a niche thing nowadays, and you can get individual game collectibles out there, but you can't get, bundles. You can't get game collection bundles with the game disc and the game memorabilia and stuff anymore. That's a thing of the past. A lot of stuff has changed, and I don't know. I think a lot of people are going to get burned. A lot of big players out there are going to get burned in this industry, and I don't think it's going to go away at all. I think gaming will be definitely is semi-bulletproof, but it will go to a state of not life support, but it'll be not very healthy. It'll get smaller. I think gaming in general will get smaller again. And then eventually it might expand again. It depends. It depends on the companies who are doing all this stuff, making the games, making the hardware, etc., etc. It depends on all of them. If Sony and Microsoft are still going to play the games of we're going to keep making the more powerful consoles. We're going to keep pushing pixels and stuff. If Sony keeps adding all this stuff and just adding to the costs, that's not going to help them. That's not going to help them at all. Not when their consoles used to be like $350, $400. Now they're $500, $600, $700. That's not going to help them. Handhelds, that's a different story. Because there's a lot of technology packed into that handheld, like the Xbox Ace ROG Ally and stuff, screen, all that stuff, chipsets. I understand that. It's a whole computer in your hand. That's a gaming device. Of course that's going to cost a bit more. So, all in all, that's it I got on that. I just wanted to talk about it because it's been bothering me. And I hear a lot of people talking about this and that and blaming he and she and this and that about the gaming industry, or not talking about it at all, or not seeing the bigger picture, and they're just so close-minded out there about it. I had to talk about it. I just had to, because the fate is sketchy. Things are going to always go up in price. That's the world we live in. And eventually it's going to hit that ceiling. And that ceiling is not going to be good for anybody, you know. And eventually it's going to all have to fall or crumble or something. Something's going to have to give. Either it's us as the consumers, or it's going to be industry itself. I'm going to take a quick break. You will not notice because it's just going to keep going. And I'm going to take a quick drinky break for my throat and stuff and whatnot. And then we'll get back and I'll talk about some of the games I've purchased that I was teasing about. The games I played, and then some Games Talk News, and then I'll be this show. So we'll be right back after this brief pause. Okay. Oop. Am I back? I am back. I thought I hit the wrong button again. I sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll hit the record button when I should just hit the pause button again to unpause. Because the pause button on my system pauses and unpauses the recording. I almost thought I hit the record button, which wouldn't have been a big deal. I just would have to hit record again to start recording again, because it does save my recordings instantly. So, so I purchased a few games like I was just talking about, on how I like to save money for games, sort of. Even though I bought some of these games already, but because I'm mostly going all digital with all my games and my game libraries, and I stream games and stuff, and everything's going to be either portable or whatnot. I've been taking an initiative to look at games, see what games I can get again or get digitally, and get at a decent price. So I was talking about stuff like how I waited and then I purchased Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I got that digitally instead of keeping the physical copy, because I knew I was going to be able to play it on my ROG Ally via the streaming, because I tried out the streaming for the game, and I'm like, oh, this is running really good streaming wise, because I tested it out, and I'm like, oh, the stream of Assassin's Creed Shadows is very good, very playable. I wasn't having any problems with, so I decided, why not return my $30+ copy of Assassin's Creed Shadows back to Amazon, and then I kept the digital copy of it, and I'm like, okay, going forward, maybe I'm going to keep doing this, especially for Ubisoft titles, because Ubisoft is very heinous on their way of putting games on Xbox. Now, note, you can buy, or technically now Xbox is selling on the Xbox store Ubisoft games, but you're not getting them through Xbox. You're getting them through, and I'm talking about Xbox for PC. I should be more specific. For Xbox for PC, you're getting those games from the Ubisoft store, so you're not getting achievements. You got to download them from the Ubisoft client, and they kind of tell you, but they tell you in the super fine print, unless if you look at it and you see, oh, this doesn't have Xbox achievements and stuff. And I find that a very bad thing. That's a bad thing. Microsoft should be more open on that stuff, and they should tell you, no, you're buying this through us, but you're buying it through the Ubisoft store, and you're downloading it from their Ubisoft.net client and stuff. You're not getting it through our storefront here, That should be pushed more. That should be in big, bold letters. Or they should try to work out a deal with Ubisoft and say, hey, if you're going to be selling your titles through our store like this, maybe make a version compatible with our, PC storefront. So we can sell this through the PC storefront of the Xbox PC store instead of your storefront. I don't like that. Especially if, and I hope more people complain about this. I hope people that are like me that want their games as, Xbox PC titles, that they want those achievements and stuff for. Hopefully they'll also voice their concerns and complaints and stuff and say, hey, why aren't you offering games that are achievement based for this? If you're selling this in your store, these games should have achievements, etc., etc. Because that's what I go for. I try to get those achievements and points and stuff like that. But anyways, the way around it, streaming works perfectly well for me because I got great internet here. I guess I got good servers around me that offer great bandwidth for stuff like Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, which I just purchased again digitally. It was on sale for a very low price of $17.50 on the Xbox storefront, on the Xbox.com storefront. And I'll be able to stream this because it's a semi-play anywhere title. I'll be able to, not play, I shouldn't say semi-play anywhere. It's a Xbox game stream play, or play on my Xbox or stream it type of game. So I spent, with tax and all, I spent like $19 on the game, and I'm like, fine, worth it. I was waiting for it to go down a bit in price. It was like 20 something before. Now it's 17. I'm like, that's a decent price. Now that they got this third person mode and all that, I'll be playing maybe Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora, maybe more down the near future, because I'll be interested in playing something like this again. Because I did like the game. I fell off of it because there was a bunch of other games coming out, and now I forgot how to play this game altogether. I know it's like a more of a, Far Cry type of game, but I gotta relearn myself the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora and how to play it, how to play everything with my character and stuff. Maybe I might even have to restart my game again. I'd hate that, because I did level up to a point where I got some cool stuff going on, but I just forgot how to use it and do everything. So it kind of sucks. Luckily for like Star Wars Outlaws and stuff, I have not forgotten how to do any of that. But I purchased Avatar Frontiers of Pandora again. I also purchased this game. This game is an old game, but it was always expensive for some reason. But recently this went down to $8 on the Xbox store. It's The Mummy Demastered. So think of your Castlevanias or your, I'm trying to think here, Metroids and stuff like that. Think of that with the Mummy game. It's a short game, I hear, but I hear it's a really good game. And for only $8 or $8 plus 70 cents tax, so it's almost $8.70, give or take. I hear it's a really good game. I hear it's a really easy game, a really short game, and I'm like, I heard it was a really good side-scrolling adventure game. And this might be one of those types of games I play on a Let's Play or something, or on a stream one day. And it's something I got in my catalog because I heard this Mummy Demastered game was a pretty decent game to get and play. And I said, hey, $8, why not? Why not? Add that to my collection, and I could play it anytime, anywhere. And then this last game that I got, yes, I got 3 games I purchased, I think within the week. This last game I heard from another podcast, and it sounded a little bit like a Snood game. You ever remember Snood? This is back in the Windows 95 era, 95 and 98 era. It was this little thing where you moved back and forth, and you had all these Snood blocks, and then you try to go and blow them up and get rid of them. This is what it's kind of like, but in a more puzzly, more bigger type of a game. It's called Kill the Brickman. it has the same concept, even though it is really janky. Well, Snood was pretty janky too in its time. I bet I could load up a game of Snood sometime and play it, because I think they have it on the Wayback Machine on archive.org or something. I think they have the Snood game. I would believe so, but Kill the Brickman is a spiritual successor to it in a way, where you can bounce off your bullet, shoot your bullets out of this cannon-like thing that you can move. But it's really, like I said, it's really janky. I try to pause it at a certain point, and then it keeps like moving over or something if you don't do it right. Like if I click, because I'll use a controller to do this because it's more precision than a mouse. Because I try to use the mouse and keyboard, and it was not working out well at all. But using my controller, I was able to try to get it just right. I'll try to, and it shows you where the bullets will go or bounce off of and stuff. And you can get these new bullets. You can purchase new bullets and try to kill the Brickmen. And you're supposed to try to kill as many of these Brickmen as possible. But there's a set goal of like, oh, kill this many Brickmen to get this, or do this in one shot, or do this in a couple shots and get this reward and stuff. And it reminds me of the old game Snood, but on a new 3D frontier. And it's very, like I said, it's very janky. It's very basic. But it seems very fun. And it's very interesting, very fun. It was $5. That's all it cost, $5. And then with tax, 44 cents because I'm in New York. So $5.43 I spent for it, or can round that up or down, whatever you want. So a little over $5 for this game that can play anywhere on my Xbox, on my PC, on my ROG Ally, and I can have myself some fun playing this Snood-like game. And it's really, like I said, it's really janky, it's really stupid, but it's really fun, and it reminds me of my old snooding days. I just have to say, it reminds me of my old snooding days when I used to play the Snoods back on Windows 95 and 98. If you, like I said, look it up, folks. You'll see what I'm exactly talking about, because it's, like I said, it's this little thing. It's like the backwards Tetris in a way, where you're trying to shoot something. But with Snood, you were trying to shoot the same like weird gobbledygook characters to match them and take them out. So that was more like Hexic HD and stuff style, or what was that called? Bejeweled in a way. But this is more Snoodish, because it was like, it really felt like, ooh, this looked and felt like a Snoodish type of game. With the little move in the arrow, but this time you're using bullets and you can bounce them back and forth and stuff and kill multiple Brickmen and stuff, and some are more harder to kill than others. It's really unique. I'm enjoying it. I only played a few hours of it, but I was really enjoying it. And then I went back to Ninja Gaiden and stuff, but I will definitely talk a little bit more about that game when I play more of it. But so far, what I played of it, that was a good recommendation on that podcast, that gaming podcast. There was I think it was, what was it, Rebel FM or something? They were talking about Kill the Brickman. That was actually a good recommendation. And I don't hear many good recommendations sometimes from these gaming podcasts, but that was a very good recommendation on their part. And $5, can't go wrong. Can't go wrong on that. So those were the games that I bought. Like I said, I usually talk on this podcast that I buy a lot of games, because I don't get them for free, because I'm not a part of the industry. They don't give me early copies of games. I just purchase what I can, and that's another reason why I like Game Pass so much, because I can get the games that I can get and be able to play the games, and mostly it's that kind of stuff. So yeah. So why don't we go into the games that I have played in the past week, and that's right now.
Locked and loaded, ready for the fight. Game Talk Newz, gonna set the stage alight. Mr. Mike's got the scoop, he ain't holding back. Dropping bombs on the gaming industry track. Hear the thunder, feel the roar. Game Talk Newz, gonna settle the score. From E3 to PAX.
That was the wrong one.
The game.
There we go. That's the right one. I hit the wrong button, folks. I just realized that now. Excuse me for that, folks. I just realized that now. I was like, listen, I'm like, wait a second. That's the game's news. That's the Games Talk Newz. That ain't what I was talking about. That wasn't what I was thinking or talking about. So games that I played in the past week. I started playing that Hollow Knight Silksong, the game that everybody was going crazy for and talking about, that was crashing servers left and right on day one and all that. And it is a very good side-scrolling game. It is very good. I am very much liking some Hollow Knight Silksong. I'm not saying it's my number one go-to game, but as for Ori type of a game, Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisp type of a game that I felt like it is, especially because what's its name? Or her name, I should say. Hornet? Is that her name? Hornet? The main character of Hollow Knight Silksong. She can jump really high. She can jump really good on platforms. I'm like, holy shit. For this little platform, side-scrolling platform, you can jump very high and do some really interesting jump skills and stuff. It's just, all I got is a needle. All I can do is go stabby with the needle to bad guys, and I got to figure out good ways to get the bad guys and kill the bad guys and stuff. I do like about Hollow Knight Silksong, because I did play a little bit of the first Hollow Knight. I just didn't get really deep into it. I just wanted to test out the waters to see how it was. And then I just jumped over to Hollow Knight Silksong when it came out. I do like how it gives you the ability when you fill up your thread, that little bobble that you get on the screen, and it's a little thread that you fill up after you kill the enemies that can respawn if you leave and you come back. They respawn, of course. And then you could collect their threads from them as you kill them and stuff. After you get that bobble full, if you're losing health, like you lose some health or whatever, you just hit B and you hold B. You just, boom, you power up and you get all your health back with that. I think that's pretty cool, being able to easily get my health back. So if I ever fight a boss or something in the game and I'm losing health a lot, but I have that bobble full, I can hit the B and hold it in and just boom, get all my health back, and I'm back in the game and I can beat the boss. That is a really good notion of that game. That's a really interesting notion. Otherwise, the game seems like most games depressing. These games, because the first Hollow Knight game seemed pretty depressing in a way. It was a pretty dark and sad-ish looking. I think that's the tone of these games, that they're not all happy, but a little bit of sad. This one might be a little bit more happy. It seemed more colorful. But like I said, I'm not that far into it. I'm trying to figure out how to get out of the first area. I'm kind of stuck in it for now, but even with the map, I'm trying to figure out how to get through the game. The maps are kind of janky as well when you look at them, but otherwise, I think it might be a decent game for me to play eventually and just keep playing and playing. I know a lot of people are going crazy over it and they're like, oh my god, Hollow Knight Silksong is amazing. It's the best indie game in the world. It's the best game in the world. What am I saying? And I'm just like, it's a good game. It's a good game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. It's a good game. It's a very good game. I'm not saying it's a ball-buster, blockbuster type of game, but it's a great game. It's a good one, another one of these. It's not like a Cuphead or anything, but it's a very good one of these. And like I said, I think I still got it on PC here, right? I didn't delete it off of my PC. No, still got it on PC. But I also got it on my ROG Ally. I think I was playing on there for a bit, but I got it on both PC and ROG Ally. So I will definitely be playing more Hollow Knight Silksong eventually when I get some chances to, when I'm done playing other stuff. So it's just not my main go-to game right now, because there's a lot of those. right now. I could definitely tell you I am still playing some RoboCop Rogue City, even though I just beat the game. So how am I playing more RoboCop Rogue City? Well, because you know what? RoboCop has unfinished business, people. Yes, he does. Unfinished business. So I'll be playing more of that this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/oldfreakygamer-2023 or twitch.tv/oldfreakygamer, or you could just go to oldfreakygamer.com and the live video feed will be on the top of the main front page when you go to it. You could just click on it and just watch it from there and click into it. It's just the YouTube feed of RoboMike Rogue City, or I should say RoboMike Unfinished Business. I beat RoboCop Rogue City. That was the whole main game. I beat it last Friday. I was playing almost to midnight. It was like 11 o'clock or something when I beat it. There was a lot of game. I think I passed a lot of stuff in the game. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. Could be someone else. I passed a lot of stuff, but I played a lot and passed a bit of oh, I do have this on here. Never mind. I'm looking at something. I feel like, did I forget another game I played and put on there? Had a ball playing RoboCop Rogue City. That's why I can't wait to play Unfinished Business, because that's just taking it to a whole new level. Literally, when you're going up a tower to beat stuff, you're doing a Judge Dredd kind of thing in the next one, I hear. But it was good. It was a good story. It felt like a real, true RoboCop story. Everything was fun in it, even though it had a little bit of glitchy here and there. And then you got that, what was that robot called again? The 8211 or whatever bullshit thing. I forgot what it's called. That stupid robot that has a brain in it and it's trying to shoot at you. That annoying thing, that was very stupid. And then the final boss battle, which you thought the new guy was the boss battle. No, he was not. He was the filler guy, because there was a lot of filler in this game because they were throwing everything they had at me, even the kitchen sink. But then there was the one last boss battle, which I had the feeling when they were talking about it, they were like, oh, there's shit going down and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I killed everybody so far. And the funniest thing that I was talking about during my streaming of RoboCop Rogue City, and spoiler alert if anybody doesn't want to listen to this, because there is spoilers on what I'm going to say here, but this game's been out for a long time, so I don't care. After the old man supposedly died, as they announced, I kind of had the feeling, oh, they're doing this whole brain thing where they're taking people's brains and trying to put them into machines so they can, be new RoboCops and all this stuff and be new Robo police force guys and stuff. And, excuse me for the yawning. And I was thinking, I'm like, I bet the old guy is coming back. I had the feeling that the old guy was coming back, and I had the feeling they put his brain into a machine. I just had that feeling way before that. When I heard he died, I'm like, did he really die? Did he really die? Did he really die when all this is going down? And then at the end, I'm like, oh, sure enough, nope, he did not die. No, they made him like this very almost impossible piece of shit boss battle robot ever. Boy, that was a piece of shit last. I'm surprised I beat it as fast as I did. I was like on a tear to beat it. I'm like, oh shit, they gave me no extra health, no extra OCP health updates or grades and stuff. I had barely no weapons. All I had was my RoboCop pistol, which it does a great job. Don't get me wrong. I used it for most of the game because it was like the best weapon to use. But for something like that, you needed rocket launchers. You needed grenade launchers and stuff. And luckily, in that super boss battle at the end with the old man, you fell through the floors, and then you came to like the parking lot area and stuff like that, and other areas in the game like the lobby, and there was grenade launchers all around. There was one health pickup, I think, in the lobby as well. And when I picked up that one health thing, that helped me so much. And I picked up those grenade launchers and I kept shooting at that old man at that one point, knocking out his health. And then we went into the basement and I took his motherfucking ass out and hung him to dry. That was the greatest thing because I was like, oh shit. Because I could have just not beat him at all. It was just Johnny one move. He could go faster than me. I was trying to dodge and run. I can't run. RoboCop walks really slowly. That was the only thing that ever bothered me about RoboCop in the movies and whatever. They didn't make him to be able to run. RoboCop can't run. RoboCop goes boom, 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 boom. And I'm like thinking, yeah, that works out for the bad guys like Jason Voorhees and Michael from Halloween and stuff, but shit, RoboCop gotta go fast. Come on, the Terminator can run. The Terminator can run fast. How come RoboCop can't run fast? I'm like, shit, they didn't think about making him faster? You would think all the bad guys would be able to get away because RoboCop can't run fast. But he does have that awesome freaking powerful handgun that'll blow people away, sure, But, oh my God, I was livid. And if you watch my ending of that RoboCop Rogue City, RoboMike Rogue City episode, RoboCop Rogue City, the finale for the first game, you'll see me live and go, oh my God, I can't believe I beat him because it was so Johnny 1. And I'm like, how did other people beat this guy? I should watch other people's videos on how they beat this guy because it was like, the whole game was pretty much easy until these last two parts where it was like, first the new guy where he's just sending all these people after me. Then he sent this at the end of before his little stupid talk and shoot battle or whatever it was. He got his ass blasted off the roof. But at the end, he sent in his heavy sniper guards there where they were sniping me with these big giant cannon guns where they could take me out in 2 hits or something. I'm like, oh shit. If I wasn't careful, and I'm like, oh crap, I thought he was going to be the worst. And then it was the old man. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. But I am looking forward to RoboCop Unfinished Business as I, RoboMike, play RoboMike Unfinished Business this Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Come join me on youtube.com/OldFreakyGamer-2023 or twitch.tv/OldFreakyGamer or OldFreakyGamer.com. That's 8 p.m. Eastern Time for RoboMike Unfinished Business this Friday, where I start up another game for the DLC, the standalone DLC to RoboCop Rogue City. Amazing game. Watch the videos that I'd done of all my streams because it was fun as hell. And you can tell I play like 2-3 hours of this game every night. Boy, it's a fun game. You know what else is a fun game? Which I'm not going to talk barely anything about. Minecraft Bedrock Edition for PC. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft on my PC, just breaking blocks, having fun, clearing land. I know it sounds so stupid and boring, but that's what I do. I'm collecting my materials just like they do in China. And I'm ready to build an industry in my Minecraft world. But been playing a bunch of that on the PC. Then I played some more Vampire Survivors on my Series X and ROG Ally. You know, we all know about Vampire Survivors. There's a lot of DLC I bought for that. There's a lot of characters I'm playing one at a time, trying to knock out more and more out of the characters and play more and more levels. So there's always more to play in Vampire Survivors. Even though I got the majority of the achievements, I'm very happy about that. I'm very happy and proud that I got the majority of the achievements in Vampire Survivors, but still I'll keep playing it because it's just fun. So I've been playing a bunch of that on my Xbox ROG Ally and Series X. Then we'll come to Ninja Gaiden 2 Black that I've been specifically only playing on the ROG Ally. I think I even deleted it off my PC here because I'm like, I'm just going to play this game on my ROG Ally, right? Yepers. I deleted it off my PC because I've just been having a ball because it's been running really good on my Raw Galley. Now, no, when you get into the video portion, sometimes it'll jitter for a little bit, but then it gets really good again. But I've been playing a bunch, a ton. I've been getting really through. I am almost done with Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on playing on my Raw Galley. I said I was going to get back into it. I said I was going to beat it. I said I was going to get through it and try to beat it. And sure enough, eventually I will. I will. So there you have it on that. I am very happy about that. It's a fun hack and slash game. Reminds me of why I didn't play any of the other Ninja Gaiden games. I wonder if they're like it in a way. I know a lot of people said that other ones weren't the best. I know Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming very, 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 very soon, right? I forgot when. When's Ninja Gaiden 4 coming out? I could double check right here. Ninja Gaiden 4 release date is October 21st this month, 2025. Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out, and it will be on Game Pass. I'm pretty sure they said it was going to be on Game Pass day one. Yeah, I am very excited about it. Hack and slash beat 'em up. I'm very excited about it because, like I said, that's the main reason why I decided I wanted to play more Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, and I wanted to finish it because I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. I like these characters. I don't understand what's going on in the story. I don't understand what's going on in the game. I'm just going deeper and deeper into hell, I guess. Ninja hell or something. I don't know what's going on in the game. I know we were fighting some bad people that did some bad things to us back in the time. And then it's just like, I'm just going deeper and deeper into this hell and I'm killing all these demons. I'm like, wait, when did this turn into freaking Doom all of a sudden, but with a ninja instead of the Doom guy? I don't know. You got some pretty ladies with big boobs fighting shit and killing things too, but okay. I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on in the game. I don't know what the story is of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I should read up on it, but even though I'm playing through it, I'm like, okay, I'm back. First, I was going up in the air. I was going up into these other places and all these other countries, I'm guessing. Then I go to like Russia or something, and then I come back to like my hometown, and then I'm going down, and I'm going down, and I'm going down and down and down and down, and then I'm ending up in this alternate like demon universe, and now I'm in hell or whatever, and all these weird demons and weird creatures that look like they came out of a Persona game or something coming up and trying to fight me, and I'm looking around, I'm like, fuck, this is crazy, and all these characters are trying to kill me, and I don't think did I ever die in Ninja Gaiden? I think I died once. No. Yeah, maybe. Actually, I don't think I ever died in this Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Edition game yet. I know I died in other Ninja Gaiden games, but I don't think I ever died in this one. I can't tell you. I think I almost died, or it seems like I'm almost dying, but I don't for some reason. So I can't say I have died in this. I don't think I've ever died in this game. But it is fun. It is fun. It is crazy. And I wanted to beat it because I'm like, well, Ninja Gaiden 4 is coming out soon, which it is coming out really soon. And I wanted to play it because why not? Because I like Ryu. I like the ladies and stuff. And yeah, I don't understand a damn bit about the story. Isn't that crazy? I'm playing through the game. I'm almost done with the game. I'm having a blast in the game, but I don't understand what the fuck the story's going. Because I don't know what's going on, because it's all crazy. It's all crazy. It's a crazy game. But it's so much fun. Trust me, if you never played Ninja Gaiden 2 Black Edition, which is the remaster or whatever, remaster of that game, of the original Ninja Gaiden 2, trust me, play it. It's fun. It is fun. It's a fun game. And it's on Game Pass. I've already talked about Kill the Brickman. I've been playing on PC, ROG Ally, and Series X. I played on all three, I guess. Yes, a little bit to try it out on each device to see how it is. Like I said, it's a snood-like-ish game. Bullets bouncing, fun. It's got a little bit of Breakout meets Snood meets Tetris type feel to it. Fun game. Definitely highly recommend it. It's only $5 on the Xbox store or Xbox.com. You can't find it in the Xbox store, I guess. I heard you can't find it in the Xbox for PC store. You can only find it on the Xbox and the Xbox.com store. So that's what we got for that. And then I've been dabbling into playing some Diablo 4. Yes, I've been playing a bit of Diablo 4 over the weekend, and I've been playing it today before I started doing this podcast because I'm like, oh, I want to play a little bit more Diablo 4, and I've been having fun in that. Now, that game I actually died in a couple times. I died in it, but I came back, and it was fun, and I blew away a bunch of evil undead thingies, and Diablo 4 is really, really fun, and I still curse Bethesda, or not Bethesda, Blizzard for having us on the Battle.net store and not making it available on the Xbox for PC store yet, you bastards. And I'm cursing Microsoft and Xbox in general for not having this game as a streamable game. Bad on you guys. Why is this not a streamable game yet? Why can't I stream Diablo 4 onto my device or make it native so I can play it from the Xbox storefront, PC storefront, so I can get achievements for playing the PC edition? Because damn, I would love to be playing Diablo 4 on PC, but I don't want to install the Battle.net store to get it. And on top of it, you don't get achievements for it. So it's a bad situation overall when they can easily just changed it over to that. I don't know what's up with them and up with that. That's bullshit to me, but I plan on my Series X. So when I need to get in some Diablo time, I will play it on my console. Another reason why I still keep the console, the Xbox Series X console around, because games like Diablo 4, I can only play on the console because the PC version is a lesser version because you don't get achievements. That is my prerogative, not yours, so that's okay on that. Bioshock Infinite DLC, yes. Finally played, beat. There's 5+ hours video coming up this Wednesday on a big final Big Daddy Bioshock video, the DLC. Boy, the second part of, or should I say, episode 2 of the Bioshock DLC, Infinite DLC, kind of was boring-ish. You know, it was really straightforward, boring-ish, quick. I beat it. That's all I gotta say. I like Bioshock. I like all the Bioshocks. I like even Bioshock Infinite. I know a lot of people don't care for Bioshock Infinite that much, but I like them all. I like the character Elizabeth, even though she's dead now. But who knows? You can bring them all back. Even Booker came back in a way, a certain way. But I beat all the DLC. I beat hours and hours. I think I played, what was it? 2.5 hours? What was it? I forgot how many hours. It was a long time I was playing this game yesterday. I played it yesterday, beat it. I'm like, okay, I'm all done. Deleted it. It's going back on the shelf. I got the hard copy of the Bioshock collection on discs because that's where it came out first for the Bioshock collection, remastered collection. So I got them on discs. So I'm all done with those until if Bioshock 4 or Judas comes out or whatever down the road. But if you're interested in watching a 5+ hour video, I got a 5+ hour video of the Bioshock Infinite DLC going up this Wednesday for Big Daddy Bioshock. I promised. I kept my word. It is finally done. I finally played and recorded all the Bioshocks. I'm very happy with that. Very, very happy with that. Oh, time is getting short. It is getting super late. Things are going on. I'm actually recording this really late on today, Monday. I hope I get this out today. It's going to be really tight for me getting this podcast out today because I got some editing to do for both video and audio, and it's getting really late, and I've got to still finish this. I still got some games news to talk through. We'll see what we get to here. I'm gonna forget the audio for the Gamez Talk Newz. Here it is.
Locked and loaded, ready for the fight. Game Talk Newz, gonna set the stage alight.
Okay, there we go. There we go. That's it. That's what you got. I already played it the first time by accident. Let's quickly go through these Game Talks news, and then we'll end the show. I got a few things here that I picked up on the way. Luckily, there's not that much games news to talk about because I already talked about a bunch of it in the main part of it. But this one just came up. So, Mr. Keanu Reeves, right? He played Johnny Silverhand in Cyberpunk, the game. Guess who wants to go and be a character in Cyberpunk 2? Keanu Reeves. So apparently Keanu Reeves states he absolutely wants to be in Cyberpunk 2. So I guess he had a great time with it. I guess he likes the game a lot, even though it wasn't doing so good at the beginning. But then, after it got good and after all the other stuff, he wants to be back in it. So even though Cyberpunk 2 isn't really a thing yet, but the game's biggest star, Mr. Johnny Silverhand himself, Keanu Reeves, says, hey, I'd absolutely love to play Johnny Silverhand again, Reeves stated when asked if he'd be interested in revisiting the legendary Rockstar terrorist character in Cyberpunk 2. Reeves' love affair with the Cyberpunk community began with his viral "You're breathtaking" moment. Yep, at E3 2019. Yeah, and I guess he liked it. I guess he liked to play the character. I guess a lot of that stuff, and why not? So yeah. Let's see what the polls say about this. Should Johnny Silverhand return for Cyberpunk 2? That's what I'm looking here on IGN about that. And rounding 62.5% say yes. Only 8.5% say no. And 29% say it depends on how it's handled. Well, it could be handled many ways. He could be depending on how your character ended up at the end of Cyberpunk, of the first Cyberpunk game. He could be just your character, your V character, because remember V could make up a choice, like Johnny Silverhand could take over your body or whatever or whatnot. They could have did that way, or this could be like a blast from the past thing, or it could be something in the future where maybe he gets to be himself again. They create it like a Johnny Silverhand clone or something, anything could be possible. It is Cyberpunk. It is a game. You can do anything with that. So I don't know. I would love to see him back in it. Maybe somebody else finds the chip. Maybe he's still on the chip somewhere, and somebody pulls out the chip out of V or something and takes the chip, puts it in themselves, not thinking it's that, and Johnny comes back. Johnny's back. And a different person this time. Maybe it's a female. I don't know. But yeah, I would love to see that come back. I thought he was pretty cool in the game. Maybe give him a more front row center type of feel in the game this time instead of just being this ghostly sidekick. That'd be cool. I'd love Johnny to come back. Xbox Game Pass, September 2025, Wave 1 lineup for Game Pass games. So I got these already. It's been in this a while, so a lot of these games are out already, but some are still coming. But I Am Your Beast for Cloud, PC, Xbox Series X and S, Game Pass Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. That's already out on September 2nd. Sorry, excuse me. On September 3rd, which is already passed now. 9 Souls for Xbox Series X and S, out now with Game Pass Standard. September 4th, which is already passed. Hollow Knight Silksong, Cloud Console and PC, Game Pass Ultimate, and PC Game Pass. We already know that. September 4th again, Cataclysmo for PC, Game Pass Ultimate, and PC Game Pass. Okay. September 10th, that's, when's that? That's Wednesday this week. For you Paws, Paw Patrol World for Cloud, Console, and PC, Game Pass Ultimate, PC Game Pass, and Game Pass Standard. So all you little Paw Patrol fans out there, there you go for that. For September 16th, for the final game, which I'm going to maybe try out a little bit because I heard this was interesting. But this is funny. It's only going to be coming out for Cloud and Xbox Series X and S. It's Roadcraft for Cloud Gaming and Xbox Series X and S, Game Pass Ultimate, and Game Pass Standard. At least it's going to be in the cloud, so I could try to play this on my ROG Ally or something, but it's kind of weird that they're only doing it on the Series X and X, and then it's cloud. But Roadcraft, I heard that's a good game. I heard people liked Roadcraft a lot, so maybe I'll get a little play, you know, give it a little try. Even if I don't like it, at least I'll try it. I watched people play it, but you got to play it to find out if you really like it. You can't just watch always people, even though you can watch me play games and find out if you like it or not. But you really want to also try it. Unless it's somebody like me says it's a really bad game and you should never play it, then maybe you should not try it. Unless if it's on Game Pass. Even though you should maybe not try it on Game Pass, because then they'll have that stain on your Game Pass played games thing where it says you played this game and you're like, no, I didn't. It's a horrible game, but I can't get it off. Because they don't give you the ability to take off games anymore off your 0-point achievements list. They took that away. They used to be able to delete your 0-point achievement games, but now you can't anymore for some reason. I don't know why that came back off again. I don't know. But that's what it is. Also, there's some games that have or are leaving Game Pass on September the 15th. All You Need Is Help for the Cloud, Console, and PC. Wargroove 2, Cloud, Console, and PC. And We Love Katamari Reroll plus Roll Reverie. I can't even say that. Royal Reverie, whatever, for Cloud, Console, and PC. Those are leaving Game Pass on September 15th. I'm just going to pass this one because this is a long one. I don't really care. It was just a former Bethesda studio executive. You might have known him as Pete Hines. He was bitching about Game Pass, about Xbox Game Pass, and how it is worth jack shit if game developers who create content for them are not properly supported and stuff. You know, he's doing his little whiny thing. Pete Hines over at Bethesda, even though, you know, I watched him in those directs of theirs, their Bethesda presentations and stuff, he always seemed like a whiny guy. He always seemed like he had a chip on his shoulder. And now that he's gone and retired and left there finally, he's still whining and complaining and stuff. I don't know. I don't get it. He's still bitching about stuff. I don't get it. Pete, calm down, Pete. Play some games and chill out. You got a ton of money. You were an exec there. Stop complaining. But yeah, he was jumping on that bandwagon of how Game Pass ain't really supporting people and Game Pass ain't making money and blah, blah, blah. And you would think you would know because he's an exec, but I don't think they really let him into that world. And two, like I said, I could go through it all the time. I'm sure Game Pass makes money. I'm sure Game Pass works for the right publishers and the right people with the right games. Because if you got the right game and you're the right publisher that knows how to publish stuff, I'm sure you could get it to work for you in a lot of great ways. Because there's a lot of great ways that Game Pass can help studios and help their games sell and succeed longer and better, because sometimes people can buy games afterwards. There's a lot of ways you can make money off of that. Here's a fun thing that I hope is pretty cool because I would love to see Rayman again. Ubisoft states it's working on the future of Rayman. Not that I trust Ubisoft in any way, shape, or form. Where's that Beyond Good and Evil 2 that they've been promising for decades now? But don't expect news from us too soon. Oh, okay. So why would you just come out and say it? Maybe because they just want to be noticed again. But I would like another Rayman. Rayman is fun. I played me some Rayman on the 360. Rayman, Raven Rabbids, all that stuff. Rayman, what was it called? It was on the 360 when it came out. It was a good Rayman game. It had a lot of good stuff. Rayman's awesome. So apparently Ubisoft is set to celebrate all things Rayman as it gets ready to mark the series' 30th anniversary. It's 30 years old. It's 9 years younger than me. Holy shit. I was 9 when Rayman came out because it says 30 if I'm 39. So it's 9 years less than me. The official Rayman X Twitter account has long been dormant, but resurfaced a handful of times in 2020 and then once again in 2021. I'm just reading this. Rayman turns 30. Join us on our official channels to celebrate an incredible legacy. The account exclaimed, attached a brief video, and the video brand producer Loic Gunan, who has been working on the Rayman franchise since 2006, revealed that a very talented team at Ubisoft Montpellier and Ubisoft Milan are currently working together on the future of Rayman. A more 3D Rayman or something, maybe? They're going to take them out of 2D, make them 3D and stuff. Is that what they're going to do with Rayman? Are they going to do the Ratchet and Clanking for Rayman? I can see that. Have some good games. Rayman Legends. That's what it was. Since 2013's Rayman Legends. That's what I was playing last. Yes, I love the Rayman Legends. Rayman Legends was awesome. Very, very, very awesome. I did like me some Rayman Legends. But, yeah. Will we see Rayman in the near future? I don't know. I don't want to count Ubisoft out on some things, but Rayman, it's been a while since the last Rayman. And their whole thing hasn't been that big, that big of the thing. I was going to talk about the story about Hollow Knight crashing storefronts, including Steam, because it was so popular. It was crashing storefronts on both Steam. Well, Steam, I never knew Steam storefront could crash, but it could. And they showed the picture of the storefront crashed, and that was pretty cool. But it also crashed the storefronts on the Nintendo eShop, PlayStation Store, and Xbox, which is a very, very interesting thing for a game like this Hollow Knight Silksong. So I guess it is one of those anomalies in the gaming sphere where everybody just wants it and then it crashes everything. So that's interesting. And two last news stories, this time about games that are turning into TV or film series, or films, TV series or films. Life is Strange TV series announced by Amazon with the End of the Fucking World writer as showrunner. I had never watched the End of the Fucking World, but okay. Amazon has greenlit a long-awaited Life is Strange TV adaptation, probably after they were watching the Fallout stuff and all that, and they're like, oh, we got to do something Life is Strange. Almost a decade after plans to adopt the game were first announced, Charlie Covell, writer of Channel 4's The Fucking World and Netflix's Chaos, will head the series' executive producer and showrunner. The video game publisher Square Enix and Amazon MGM Studios both are on board with this. When a Life is Strange TV adaptation was first announced back in 2016, only the series' first game had been released, with the expectation being that it would adapt said game, and now years later this remains the case, with the official blurb for the show mentioning the franchise's most popular characters Max and Chloe, which I like both of those characters very much, and I would love to see them do that. Covell's adaptation will follow Max, a photography student who discovers she can rewind time while saving the life of her childhood best friend Chloe. The blurb reads, as she struggles to understand this new skill and pair investigate the mysterious disappearance of fellow student, uncovering a dark side to their own town will ultimately force them to make an impossible life or death choice that will impact them forever. And then people are wondering, like in this article, are wondering, well, how is this going to adapt, or how is this going to work with that end game where you choose your own adventure storytelling, and how the ending of the Life is Strange ended up. I'm interested in this. I hope they do it justice. I hope they get the right people for the right characters, and I hope they do it really good and they don't hold punches, which is being worked on through Amazon, so they're probably not going to hold any punches back. They're going to have all the dastardly stuff in there. And two, they're saying no. Yeah, there was nothing else they were saying. They were just saying they were doing a TV show. Then they were talking about how the double exposure, Life is Strange double exposure did not meet expectations, and that crunch and all the other stuff going on with Square Enix and the companies and the toxicity behaviors in the companies have Deck 9 and all that have caused the game's heartache and whatever. I got that game downloaded. I have that game, Life is Strange double exposure. I got to play it eventually. Haven't played it yet. I want to play it. I just got to have the right time to play it. I played all the Life is Strange games, so I am very interested in playing it. Plus, I got Life is Strange and Life is Strange 2 remastered, which I could play through again. I'm very interested in doing that. It's just when the right time is right, or the time is right. When the right time is right. That was a weird saying that I said, but when the time is right. And to end up this game's news talk, because I got to get this thing edited and outed. Tomb Raider, the Legend of Lara Croft to end with Season 2. And yes, it should, because that show on Netflix was bore fucking ring, and it did not put Lara Croft in a good light. Enough said. Even though they got live action movies of it, and a lot of the games are good or great, that show was abysmal. I tried to like it. I tried hard to like it. It's just not that good. I'm surprised that Season 2 of Tomb Raider, the Legend of Lara Croft even is getting made, but it is. Like I said, I'm surprised it's getting made at all. Lara Croft, voiced by Haley Atwell. She gets to reprise her role as Lara Croft. Season 2 launches on Netflix on December 11th. And also there's that live action Tomb Raider series starring Sophie Turner, which I guess is beginning to film next year. Which I'm surprised, because I hear a lot of people are hating on Sophie Turner. I don't know. I hear she's like a little bitch, but I liked some of her acting before. I don't know. She's a prima donna. What do you expect? A lot of people in Hollywood are prima donnas and such. We can't complain. We'll see how it goes. Maybe she'll make it all right. I don't know. A lot of people you can email me. You can text me. You can do whatever. You can tell me that I'm wrong. Maybe I am. I don't know. Give Sophie Turner a chance. We can at least do that. I'm surprised they didn't just get Alicia Van Kier back. Whatever happened to her? She making any movies anymore? Or is she just making babies with Michael Fassbender, her husband? I think he's still her husband. I don't know. Anyways, the show is now over. It is a long show. It's longer than I thought it was going to be, but I did a lot of ranting and talking. I hope you like this podcast, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you got some interesting takes from it. Like I said, this Wednesday, I got my final big, huge 5+ hour Big Daddy Bioshock Infinite DLC final coming out this Wednesday. You don't have to watch it all at once. You can watch it in parts or whatever. It's YouTube, so you can watch it whatever. You can watch it on OldFreakyGamer.com. Take your time. You don't have to watch it all. It's a big video. This Friday, I will be playing more RoboCop with RoboCop. I can't speak. My voice is going. RoboCop Unfinished Business, or RoboCop Rogue City Unfinished Business. That's this Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube, Twitch, and OldFreakyGamer.com. And like I said, another podcast will be coming up, and after that on next Monday. Hopefully I'll play some more games this week. I got some more other stuff I want to do, but I'm gonna try to focus on playing some more games this week, have some more fun. That's all we can do. The weather's getting cooler out. It's just better gaming time, so why not? So everybody, until next time, folks, again, I'm Mr. Mike. This has been the GamezAttack podcast. Mr. Mike is me signing out saying game on, game hard, world conquest. I'm pushing this game button. This show is now game over. So everybody, until next time, game on, dudes.
Neon bright, old freaky gamer plays all night. Joystick in one hand, fries in the other. He's the king of one more level, brother. Press start, he's in the zone. His throne's a squeaky chair alone. Old freaky gamer, he's got the knack. Blasting through the game's attack. Level up and don't look back. Old freaky gamer on the track.
Game over.